Brief has to say about the FOMC. Bye, guys.
Welcome to the afternoon rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every day. Neil and Sean, they're locked, they're loaded, and they're going to look at the minutes for you in a sec because I've got no computer over here. All right, so it was an interesting day to start. We had a lot of retail earnings in focus. Macy's, Target, TJX all reporting. Two good, one not so good. Target, TJX beating on top and bottom line and showing good promise, while Macy's continues to suffer as consumer spending dwindles and the economic situation gets a little bit tighter. Let's start off with the triple Qs, doing quite well on the day, up about 0.4 off the highs, though outperforming the ES, which is up about 0.3. The Dow flat, but outperforming them all is the Russell, 1% up in the green again today. That rotation looks like it's continuing here for the most part. The Russ outperforming all the other three indexes. This is the triple Qs. You can see we are closing in on highs. The triple Qs moving up. So is Nvidia. No specific catalyst today for Nvidia, and nothing really for these chips, guys, but it's up again.
It's up and to the right, as you would like to say. So Fed minutes, we've got the vast majority of participants said it would likely be appropriate to ease policy at the next meeting if data continued to come in as expected. The meeting minutes showed that initial move is to the upside. So I can show you, we're talking about Nvidia, so I can show you Nvidia's move here off of VWAP through 228. Just breaking a bit of a trend to said upside. Why is my mouse messing with me? Great. I might need to replace this. No, seriously, I'm having trouble with my mouse. So that's the initial note here. You're getting a spike to the upside, breaking into the highs. 129 was the local top here today on Nvidia. So if it cannot bust through this, there might be a dip into VWAP. Always want to see what happens like after the minutes get released. Ultimately, they have to digest everything that's going on. We'll see some more comments in here. Now they're saying all participants supported maintaining policy rate in current range. Okay, so that's the second note. If we do get a pullback, let's see if VWAP holds or one of these consolidations. If things go absolutely ham this afternoon, 130 is available for a potential level on Nvidia. But as the market digests the minutes, snap up, looks like we're already starting to come back in. Let's see how this 128 does on Nvidia. Bit of an inside day for Nvidia. Previous close is support, 129 is the high. It's been a $2 range here. So, it's been a scalper's market. The only good trades I had were when I was trying to scalp it, when I was trying to hit that breakout or something, no good. So let's try to buy some dips if we can get it back into VWAP.
Go.
Here, let's go Nvidia.
Go, shorty. We just shorted Microsoft right now off that pop as well, but we're long Amazon right now. We're going to get out of Amazon if it breaks 180 right here. So that's the 50-period moving average. Look at that dip buy, man. We put this one live on the midday. Everyone was like, what is that maniac doing over there? And we were going long on Amazon and short Riley Co. And we'll talk about that in a couple minutes. But yeah, your boy doesn't have anything on Nvidia today. Unfortunately, womp womp. We wrote down here on the sticky note, and we're being very, very disciplined these days. 130 break or bust. That never really happened. We didn't get a good read on Nvidia today. I mean, I wish I would have. I mean, right there, I have to look to see where I was even at 12 o'clock if I was here. I think that would have been a good buy down there at past support, but that's what I'm trying to play. We almost broke through 130. Until then, we sit here and wait. Nvidia up 1%. Love the stock, love the name. But for right now, I'm long Amazon, short Riley, and short Softy.
All right, here is some data or some comments coming out of the Fed minutes. Majority at July meeting support easing policy if data aligns, citing confidence, inflation moving towards that coveted 2%. The majority of participants were looking for or are looking for a rate cut in September. Again, if the data aligns, we're going to have to wait and see with that. When that meeting happens. The SPY up 0.3 here. Whiffling and waffling, guys, as we got the minutes. What's the look right now?
7.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's trying to continue. We just said the same. We just said this for Nvidia inside day. So that's exactly what it's been. Be wary of a false break of either end of this. I think based on the way the afternoon's gone, don't want to overreact to the fact that we just had the minutes. But as I keep saying, no break of the high, no break of today's high, no break of the previous low. So if it is a scalper's market, and we don't see any new prices, hey, hello, wick down to 532.
Oh, Randy's here. Oh, I thought you were
Randy's
switching.
In the house.
Are you switching to Bulls or Bears, or what are you thinking here?
You get a haircut?
Jesus Christ, what this guy every day, like,
That's looking
You
sharp.
let me guess, you went on your lunch
Looking
break?
sharp.
Yeah.
I got to go. He's not back yet, though, is he?
Oh, your boy, Halim.
My boy Halim.
Fridays.
There's something about
They're
having...
softy, 70 cents in the
something
money.
about having your own barber that you trust.
Yeah, that's the thing.
it's...
Well, it's not just that. It's like we pay a fair penny for it, so haircuts aren't cheap, so I'd rather give it to somebody that...
Not
somebody
untrue.
we
Not
love. Yeah, softy with a little drip dive here to the downside. What's Apple doing?
Apple...
Oh my! Here we go, Randy. It's a nice move down.
Apple's dropping.
Come over to the screen real quick here for Microsoft. There's the reloaded spot. There's Microsoft coming right back in. We better put a bid here somewhere on Sir Softy and take a piece out. It just bounced off 40s right there. We missed that trade, but Randy, you are looking mighty sharp over there, my guy. So great. Yeah, come on, man. Ramin, you okay over there? He ducked. Yeah, right, he ducked. Okay, Ramin.
What's going on over here?
We're $1. We just put this on. We're $1 in the money on Softy. All right, spiders. Look, I'm positive. I'm trying to make some positive feels here in the market. I mean, although we're short, you know, the NASDAQ's not going to lie today. So it's upside. So if you look at the SPY and what we're doing here, let's just pretend this is actually the first time I've looked at this. So again, it's tough to trade a market, which is why we got back into the short on Microsoft. I'm not smart enough to sit here and say Microsoft is going to do this or is going to do that. But when the spiders move up like this, you got to beware of some of those stopping points, right? So right there, oh yeah, I know Neil just did this and he had that same bad wick. Either way, 561 right now. If you're short, I think you want to hold against that 561, 561.20. It just gave us a little bit of a look there on volume. So I feel pretty confident about said look. Now on the SPY. So 561, I like the short. The only problem is we've been barcoding all afternoon and it doesn't look like it wants to break 560. So I have to remain bullish above VWAP. But I'd try the short up here if it gave us that one more time, but I'd still remain bullish. So I know that's kind of double talking, but if we can get back up here for a day trade, I think it's worth a try to see if you want to break through that news high. If it doesn't want to, I still remain bullish and would think about possibly buying it down here at 558, 559.80, 559, 560, you know, in this area. So you're above. And as long as we stay above this area, I'm pretty bullish. So we'll see what happens here. We're long Amazon, short Microsoft, short B. Riley.
SMCI up about 2 1/5, 2 1/4 right now. No real headline coming out for SMCI today, but there was this headline yesterday, Susie Giordano joining their board. There was obviously also AMD earlier in the week partnering or looking to purchase ZT Systems, which is also in the AI server business, the same business that SMCI is in. Good look for it, guys. A hell of a level, though, here, right at 620. Look at all those defends.
Yes, sir. And by the way, those defends this market and all of this segment brought to you by our friends over at Moomoo. Looking to maximize your idle cash for Canadian users, enjoy 6% per annual on cash balances of up to $10K for 60 days, along with a 2-month commission free. I like free. You can also earn up to $2,300 in cash rewards when you transfer your portfolio. Both rewards can be enjoyed at the same time. With Moomoo, you'll gain access to comprehensive data on stocks, options, and ETFs, plus take advantage of algo trading, allowing you to create, backtest, and execute your own strategy. Set up instant alerts to trade on your own signals, helping you take your trading to the next level. Thanks to Moomoo for sponsoring this portion of the show, which we like to talk a little bit about the chips. The chips have been the engine of the market. AI has been the engine of the market. Now, obviously, Nvidia has been that one. I feel like the neglected one, the forgotten one, has always been SMCI. Today was all about $600. I'm zooming it out so you can see here on SMCI. Yesterday was a false break down at 600. Today, look at the wick bottom. These are the kind of things that if you're an SMCI trader, I'm not going to say that I am. I've traded it 4 times in a year and a half, let's call it. That's about it. So it has to be a really good setup for me. But if you are an SMCI trader, this dip in a previous low was your trade. But like everything else today that I look at, same high. Inside day. Yes, $30 range, but a complete inside day. And when you look at this, the lesson of the day today for me when I came out on the midday was accumulation. It's accumulating in this $30 range. you got a big bounce off of 500 support, and now accumulation 600 to 630. My guess, waiting for Nvidia. So maybe that's what's happening here, and we could have inside trading. You'd like to see stocks break out and go to new territory. Obviously, losing 600 would be a problem. Breaking out 640, I think, would be fantastic. If you're a long trader here, you're a support, wait for it at 600, or look for when it breaks out above the $640 level. All eyes on Nvidia earnings next week. And I'm not saying this has gone to sleep, but it's sitting in a good range, at the 5% range you can be back and forth with on this particular name. I just feel like Nvidia is where we're going to look for some trades, but I can't help but notice I haven't traded this one here. Let's go to my 3-minute because that one looks kind of funky. But a little bit of something is going on as Intel dumped City yesterday, and the most slight upward trend today above this resistance line. And it's very slowly angling towards a top break. And it's not anything crazy, but if the market takes out the top, this feels like it could be a nice little catch-up trade where it's not doing anything nuts, but certainly it's a good accumulation at these levels. And when you break out of an accumulation, I do like it. So this is going to be on the back burner as the chip name for me this afternoon if we take out the highs.
Yeah, Dell. Whenever I think about SMCI, I was thinking about Dell because they reported around the same time. I don't know, there was server talk, the equipment, the picks and shovels here. $85. We talked about this Dell breaking through that 90. Now it's been straight upside since then. So I really like this. I think this is a breakout again. If we could break through 115 and close that gap to 125. So my eyes remain on Dell. So I think that this Dell is going to be a good break there. It's actually 117. So let's barcode a little bit, a couple upgrades from now, one maybe even, and we break that level, and I think we get back into Dell. So I really like this space for them. Obviously, you know, down at 90 is even better than where we are today. But I think if you're going to go long something, SMCI is great, but Dell's also, you know, a way to get a piece of this AI sort of boom without actually having an AI-centric name, I guess, if that makes any sense. You know, in talking with our good friend Randy over there, I missed that very bottom in Microsoft. It's funny, but it's not really. So let's see if we can get it back in again. I'm going to bid maybe 50s instead of that very bottom of 40 and see if we can catch that on the way down. We just did get out of our... Wait a minute, 423.40. Yeah, we're going to cancel that one. There's our Amazon, so we will obviously go diamond hands on that, as that was a good trade for us. We don't have that very top of 50s, but we'll get out at O's. That long is down here at 179, so that's $1 right there. We were getting it out on the way up. We were really, you know, thinking that was a pretty good trade. 40 cents, then that's 75 cents, and then that's that final $1 as we get out of Amazon. And again, the reason why we're in this one, it was our trade of the day right there, boom. And then came back in, and we just found yesterday's close. I think even Sharif was mentioning this as well, where we were talking about yesterday's closing price on Amazon. So that came in, we went long there, just took $1 to put that one in the bank, and that's a wrap. We are also bidding some 50s here on Microsoft. Hopefully that'll fall in. We got taken out of a piece there on that number, and then just got right back in once that didn't continue through. So whenever you have an economic number, this is like, we love Neil's lessons of the day, but this is in the wild lesson. Like when you get reports coming out like that and they don't continue forward, I waited for a couple minutes and then just re-entered back into the short. It could easily retrace and start going back up, but then you have an out. So it's a lot safer to play this kind of a move once you see that top, which is why we talked about that when you threw over the spiders over there to us. That's what sort of I was talking about there. Now we have a top. Gives us much more confidence in holding something like this. So, all right, it's Rivian time.
Yeah, Sean, it looks like some of the market move down here is really being driven by payroll revisions, which are in focus. So we'll get more on that once we look at the minutes, but that's being talked about right now heavily on CNBC. All right, next here, Rivian's head of manufacturing, Tim Fallon, got headhunted by Stellantis. I was talking to the EV indicator, Randy, a little while ago, and this one made him go, a little bit. So Rivian not liking this, about 2.5% selling on the news.
Yeah, and you know where it is. It's right at that $13 level. So if you're wondering why you like 13 long on Rivian, it's just the price action. So this is the daily chart of Rivian. You can see the 13 action here on the daily. And then a few days ago, this was the break of 13. Stalled out right at $12.85. Today's low, $12.85. Bounced off that bottom, held a consolidation. So I'm like, okay, if we're bouncing off that low, there's your consolidation. I took the long through 13. I have twos now because I had 13 even, then I added a twos. Got some out in front of VWAP. If it loses this support here at 97, I'm out. So I was looking for us to play this long into VWAP and then a break higher in a 25. That's around the previous close where I think I would take it all out. But if it loses support here, jump out of the trade. It's just a pure technical move here on Rivian. The daily chart speaks for itself. I think, you know what, like maybe it's going to happen, maybe it's not. I mean, if you're a long-term holder, which I am, you don't want it to happen. But if we get this in the upcoming days and weeks, Rivian through probably about 1275 with this little bit of a bottom, it's going to be a short. And it's the kind of level you take the break. If it doesn't go, fair enough. Maybe you risk 25 pennies, like a 75 with a 30 stop. Because if it tries to fill in the gap, Rivian can go down to 11 or 10 bucks. Until that happens, you know, it's support until it's not. And as long as it's support, there's going to be some scalp trade opportunities off of this level. So that's what we're taking advantage of. But the day it happens, ideally from sitting down here, we'll look for that breakdown on that daily in Rivian.
I'm just watching. We did get a fill here on Microsoft. We just took a 70 about 2 minutes ago. It's right at 77. So I just want to bring that to everybody's attention because often it's like, hey, man, we missed that out or we didn't. But you can take it right now if you want it. We just took it at 70s, so it's at 77. Take it. We only have a smaller piece left now, a third left, actually, of this spot. So that is Microsoft. Is Tesla on the board? It's next. All right. Yeah, Neil just talked about Rivian. Look, I don't think there's that many trade ideas here today yet. We both agree that if it breaks that level, then it's see you later. We were able to dump some of that position at 18, but obviously not enough because when it's at 13 and you say you didn't dump enough at 18, I feel like that's obvious. You know, it's like Ford, huh? All these other names keep going to the downside. I don't feel like Rivian is any exception. The thing about this next thing that we'll talk about is it's like a cult name with the leader, people follow. Tesla is the leader of the pack. So let's go find out what Sharif has to say, and then we'll bring it back for some trading.
And they actually make money on their EV, Sean, which we can't say for a lot of these other companies. But yeah, Tesla, great look today. Very directional, as you can see. Once it went red to green, it was very directional, really finding its footing. There was this headline from the morning, obviously not really market moving. It is 9,000 Model X units, their least sold car, the Model X, being recalled here for concerns that pieces may fall off the roofing. This is an older story, though. I think they tried to fix it, glue it or something. It didn't end up working. So if it doesn't, they're going to actually replace it. It is, we'll fix it for you at home type situation here with Tesla. You don't have to go into the dealership. So that's a look. Tesla up.
Bitcoin's going now, too. Bitcoin just broke through 60,000. Right there for BTC.
I think over to Mara.
So good move. Yeah, Mara was actually starting to go.
Mara's breaking the highs. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I mean, Mara, the trade was 1660. We talked about that. It's actually on our notes, but we don't have it. So whatever on that one, and we will get to it. But because you want to ask about Tesla, we're going to be here to talk about it. So yeah, Sharif right. Again, but the best trades, in my opinion, always show up after the fact. That's obvious. But there it is, man, 219.50. I mean, it came in there, came in again, and then we just took off. So heading into this afternoon, we're still bullish. We talked about why we're bullish, above VWAP, above everything, and I can zoom this back out. So if we're going to be bullish, look at this 50-period moving average. This is why we plot this thing. Been riding this the whole way. So it's kind of like all you can do is take the trade that you believe will work out. And then when it doesn't work out, you have an out for where that possibly would be. So when I look at something like this, we've really taken this 50-period. It was pretty good for the short, and then broke it. The thing is, we closed above its past candle. So for me here, if we ever break it, you could either use that candle analogy if you want, but the problem is the candle could be too big. And if you wait for that candle to close, and I know there's some traders that use 5 minutes, any time frame is up to you, 10-second charts. These are 1 minute charts. And honestly, Tesla for me can drop too much or rip too high in 1 minute for me to wait for it to close. So I would say if we break below, that would be about 222.80. So then I'd think you'd want to give this a little bit of room, maybe 30 or 40 cents. So that's kind of where I would be with that trade, 30 or 40 cents there for Tesla on that break. So buying it at the 50 period, I believe, is a trade that I'm going to look at if it gets down there. So that's 222.75 or so right now for Tesla.
Yeah, it's definitely churning to the upside. I think it's a trend it till it gets to 224 kind of deal. Yesterday, I mean, it's not resistance on the day yesterday, but morning high, afternoon top right around there, and then the lower high in the morning yesterday off of 224 here on Tesla. So dip buys in the trend, maybe looking at a little VWAP action there, as Sean said. He likes that 50 moving average. If it ends up breaking out the top, there is the opportunity to grab some kind of a breakout long. I guess that would also be available. But for now, I think it's just a very clean trend line to the upside. As you just noted with that 60,000 move on BTC, Mara, trying not to chase, but come to my chart for a second. Yeah, Mara just took out, like this is the double top that Mara just did. I mean, obviously, you guys can see what's happening. Mara, 15 bounce, higher lows, the breakout, now making another break of 1730. Resistance up around $18 on Mara. So, all right, I'll just go ahead and cancel. I didn't really pick that one up. If we go dip by previous high, so dips into the previous high would be the first look. Once it does some kind of a consolidation or pullback, I look for a place to join this. As long as we hold on to 60,000, I would hate for this. I'd hate for this thing to lose Bitcoin to lose 60,000, and then you're caught buying a top. But as long as it's holding it, I like it. We didn't talk about any Apple, but as the market just pressed through 19.9, yeah, worth noting here, Apple, which I've only been long Apple, but really can't break VWAP, can't get to VWAP, can't get to VWAP, as the market is looking pretty decent, 0.5% to the upside, at least on the NASDAQ. The ES is like 1/3% or so. Yeah, not looking that great here for Apple. Suddenly, I'm not as bullish on this name as I was this morning, but it was more of a trade the price action. Trade over the previous high, trade off the support at 226. I'm now thinking VWAP retracement here on Apple. Relatively weak name. Little surprising. Came in thinking we like the longs on Apple, but the market has told us a little bit otherwise. Well, Apple's told us a little bit otherwise. The market's still holding out pretty well.
Yeah, you're right about all of that. Look, we're still, okay, what was that? Bitcoin, we talked about Bitcoin, we talked about everything, okay. I was just going to say here, as we look to make sure that we're going to be the right way, Microsoft is falling back in right now. So there's going to be a little bit of a move happening. We are short right now. It is approaching that club that everybody covets. It's approaching that dollar club right now. We have two positions that are dollar club positions right now. We have B. Riley. B. Riley was a headache early for me because we were going long. We thought that we could go long here at $8 a little bit. It didn't work. We broke through 8. So our worst position was a long at 850 on that first break. Then we averaged in. Then we got out. And once that was the end of that, then we started to go short. And we just went short through $8 break. So that's where we are right now. I'm hearing that Rumble right now is starting to move around.
Trump is speaking.
I think it might be being broadcasted live on Rumble or something, where Donald Trump is now speaking at a rally, which is going to, unfortunately or fortunately, not really be news for the next 73 days. I mean, you're 73 or 4 days away from the general election. And honestly, it's like, it's great. We know this stuff's going to happen. They're going to have talks and whatnot. So I think you always got to keep Rumble on mind. There was Funware before. I have no idea if that's doing anything. And then, of course, DJT, the one that was up 13 or 12% the last time I checked. We'll check what it's up right now. Yeah, 13 again. So I don't know what the cause of this is. I'm sure we've probably gone over it, but I really wasn't paying too much attention.
I don't recall finding any news on DJT. It's like it tagged the all-time low and bounced. All-time low of the name change.
Oh, right. Remember, this will be eventually a $5 stock. So
when it was DWAC, it was.
Yeah, I don't know if it ever went even below 10 on DWAC, but I'm telling you, like this SPAC.
You can still probably get historical data.
I wonder. Remember, I was talking about we went on the websites and we saw it was about the odds switched over to Kamala. So I was just thinking, like, if the Republicans win, and obviously that would mean Donald Trump was your new president, then obviously DJT would have a lot more value than on an L. So I just wonder about playing options and then also hedging it with the online gambling site. If there was, and you could probably only bet maximum $500 or something.
That's the problem with
bet
those.
like that.
Yeah.
Maybe not though. Maybe
No.
not. There might be so much interest that they can hedge your bet both ways. So anyways, at the end of the day, that would be something that's going through my mind when I see that, because again, we just open up FanDuel or DraftKings or whatever, and you could bet the general election as well as picking up like an option or something on DJT one way or the other, depending on what your opinion is. I would say you'd probably make more money in the financial markets, like with options and stuff, but
it's a safer way to be in DJT just because, limit your risk, understanding that, what was it, like a few $100,000 in revenue? Something like that.
yeah, I don't even.
It was.
I think it might have been 5 million, but at the end of the day,
I'm pretty sure it was less. I think it was less than $1 million worth of. It doesn't matter. The market cap is so big that even if it was a couple $1 million of revenue, fundamentally speaking, that's a stock which could easily, basically not shrink to zero, but you get the idea. Like it could drop any amount for sure. So
Jeff Joe was maybe sort of just talking about a catalyst there that RFK will be supporting Trump. So he has a certain percentage of the population would like to vote for Kennedy, but now I guess they'll be not forced, but pushed.
He'd have made an interesting running mate.
Donald Trump, so we'll see.
But whatever.
Anyways, we're going to be talking about it. Don't try not to get too political in the chat. Obviously, everybody's allowed to voice their opinions, but we're just talking about the stock market and apparently legal gambling sites as well.
Bye. Mara.
All right, so bye. Apparently that's hot now again. I don't know.
Seriously?
Yeah, Marissa said there's something in Deadpool where they're doing some sort of an NSYNC dance. And it's like, I should have asked Sharif there. I haven't watched Deadpool.
I haven't seen it either.
About that, but maybe I'm right or wrong on that. I don't know. Marissa's like, do not open up like Instagram or anything because you'll see that bye dance everywhere. So, okay. All right, I should have asked Sharif.
Coinbase is flying here.
Coinbase. Okay, yeah, well, look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's actually, and we overused terminology, but trying to moon right now as it's through 60,000 goes BTC. What do you got to hit? Yeah, there it goes.
There it is. I was on the wrong page for the old moon one, but we got another one for that one.
I don't know.
That key. This is insane here. You're getting a huge move on Coinbase. I know Mara is going, but this seems like it's a bit bigger. So I think it's 206. That's the number. 206 resistance. Okay, close-ish. Like 205, 205 half, somewhere in here is where the sellers came in en masse for this stock. So probably a little bit of room. I hate chasing these moves to the upside. I got another offer on, just because Rivian stalled at VWAP the first time, I'm going to make the assumption that there's sellers there again. So I'm going to get some out there in front of VWAP if it goes. Tesla's not giving you a pullback. Apple's not at VWAP. Nvidia, just going through the names that I was looking at here. No dip for Nvidia whatsoever as it's back into the highs. Oh, is it going to be a 130 or nothing day for Nvidia? All right, let's see where the next dip is on one of these crypto names. Probably still Mara for me, or Nvidia, but I want to have eyeballs on Mara. I feel like it's already going a little bit parabolic. I feel like Coin was a kind of a big move, but Mara levels make sense. We liked it as a long the last couple of days. This is giving you the continuation. So if it's back into here, the 40s, or if we can just identify a trend which might be forming and then hold the trend line on MARA. Okay, so we just got some VWAP on Rivian. Now we're going to hold to see if it can get through that. Rui saying Snowflake. They report after the bell tonight.
Yeah.
Are they moving? Yes. Yes, it is. Ooh, charts are slow today.
1% though only? Come on.
No, it's not that much.
Come on, Snowflake.
No, it's not moving that much. I just saw the tape open up. A bunch of deep prints went by, but a little bit of resistance here on Snowflake. I like them. Little pricey, but it's finally above the 50 period moving average. A lot can change. Earnings happen. You lose the 50. That's what happened last time. So wait for the earnings after.
2880 on Nvidia. Neil just nailed it right there because we had already talked about this early on in the morning, and I think we're all waiting for this right there. So we wrote this at 8 o'clock. 130 break as Neil chokes, but he's fine now, I think. Be patient and wait for it. So we don't have any Nvidia trading at all. That's the sticky note. I'm gonna see who's in those DMs over there. But yeah, so right now that's something that we're gonna be waiting for again, it would be an Nvidia break. But in the, try not to be so super patient here, you can also take that for small if you want. That's the day's high break of 129.40 or so. I was hoping to get a dip down into like 128, 128.80, something like that. I'm going to put a bid down there, hoping that maybe it falls in. Look, we just could get like a little bit of a dump, and maybe it comes in for a bit. We are still short Microsoft, but at this point, I'm more interested here a little bit on Nvidia. We will watch Microsoft. If it takes the high, we're out. And that's trying to go right now as this market's trying to go again. So here it is, nice upside move for Softy. Our out on this was a 5.425 fill. So let's see if that goes higher. I mean, I don't mind taking some more Softy here. So I think we'll probably do that against that high. So let's wait to see right now. Someone must have had just a nasty settlement there in Catan in the back. 424.70 right now coming through. So there it goes. So we re-engaged in a short now for Microsoft.
Yeah, well, now we're just screaming in here. I'm not taking this break necessarily on Nvidia unless it gives you some, like, calm it down. I don't want it to be parabolic into a high break. Give like a pullback into 129, because I had it off of 129 before, and that was a failure price. So if it does anything adjacent to that, you don't want to get trapped at the top. So let's be patient with it. Let it come back in. Tesla also, wow, Tesla's going to go for a breakout as well through the highs.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that one's looking pretty decent. So it's going to get to the high, Nvidia. I'm looking for a false break that dips back into 129. Mara, I'm also, I want like 1750 or 1740. There hasn't been another consolidation, but that's what I want to see next. Here, I'll show you what's going on. Like Rivian, I took some out there when it hit VWAP. Next out's going to be 13 in front of 1320. It closed at 1320 yesterday. So that would be resistance in the form of previous closing price and also this morning. We're going to get on the offer in front of the 20s, but eyeballs are on, at this point, pick a chip name, pick a crypto name is what I'm kind of looking at next, but I'm not chasing these highs. You got to give me a consolidation or something of a pullback that we can work our way into.
Yeah, pullbacks, we'd like that. So we are going to wait for the same thing sort of there on Nvidia as well. And wait for, hopefully, a pull down on Microsoft. So this is just going to be, I'm going to talk about it because it's our newest position right here. Waiting for it to do something. We've already seen this high for Microsoft. We sort of just looked at it right there. 425. If it breaks that, we'll get out. 425 is actually up here. We hadn't seen anything since we tried, and then that happened again. So I feel like we're in the pocket now. We have about 40% of what we want. If it does come back up, I'm waiting in the 70s as well. We'll take that. Give us an average price of about 50 cents worth of risk. Come on. I mean, that is well worth it for Microsoft. We've already talked about this. It can go $1, and we've taken $1 on this. So we are well within the pocket here for Softy. I'm seeing Apple again moving around. Apple's been my number one stock today for sure is Apple, and it was just early, and then this last little piece there on that drop was epic, but thankfully that was just a small piece. Apple right there bouncing its head on VWAP, which is what's getting my attention. So if we want to go long on a name, it's not Apple. Apple's flat right now on the day and trying to go green. So normally we would short against this VWAP right now, but I kind of feel pretty bullish. And we've sort of talked about why we're kind of bullish on this. So I think it's wise to maybe stay away from this and try to capture maybe a short if we get a little bit higher. But right now, VWAP could be the jumping spot for Apple. So let's wait to see if that does happen as well. I'm going to just hold on to these positions. If there's anything, I mean, Starbucks is at that 92 level I'm seeing on the chart as well, or dip down into it, I guess, today. Yeah, 92.20. Look at this. I mean, how good does this look off of VWAP right now? You know, bounce there, bounce. I mean, another great opportunity to potentially take a long if we get back into 92.75, 92.80. That reminds me of Nike. So that's not bad. But this also is pretty good too. So you could short it. You have about $1 worth of a range here that I actually pretty like. Sorry. What's up, Adara?
Sorry about that. Just be aware of Iovance here, IOVA. They have a market cap of about $3.5 billion, so not a small cap, 21.9% short float. You do have right now. About 5 minutes ago, Martin Shkreli posting on X. You may remember Martin Shkreli as the Pharma Bro from about 10 years ago here, posting that IOVA looks like, quote, a pretty attractive long idea. So IOVANCE here, IOVA, near high of days, gaining some volume as we get into power hour here, guys.
How long was Shkreli in jail for? That was 10 years. I thought he got five.
Maybe 3 years.
I thought, yeah, like 3 to 5 or something like that. I thought that's what he got. But it just shows, it goes to show, man, time flies because, you know, sometimes things blend in a little bit, blend in and disappear. So probably a good look not taking the break on Nvidia. It broke by 1 cent the high of the day. Big pullback happening. Where is Apple? Did Apple get to VWAP? Oh, it didn't quite get to VWAP. It got so close to VWAP and not actually getting there. I did get that one leg out of Rivian. Now looks like it wants to take VWAP out. Apple should be a short off VWAP, and maybe it doesn't even want to get to that particular price. So this is the pullback. If there's going to be strength in crypto, in one of the crypto names, this would be the opportunity to try and grab it here. As it's getting down to 17.5. Just need to see it form a bit of, wow, look at this candle on Apple.
All right,
we are right now? No.
We are absolutely destroying right now. Hit the hot dog cannon for this Microsoft trade. We just reloaded it. I mean, like, if this isn't real trading and doing what I think what I want to do, then I am behooved by my own trading because that was just fell through there. Now, Nvidia, are you on a dance now? All right, so this is the pullback we just talked about. You know, there's the 50-period moving average. We're getting real close to that. A break of 128.50. I'm going to get out. So I'm going to put on some risk down here and then get out of a 128.50 break or so. Because honestly, at this point, you know, the market's fallen down. We really just crushed Microsoft there, and we don't need any risks here. So we're going to do that, see if we can get away with it, and just continue to watch Microsoft. We did bid also at VWAP again in the 70s. We do miss that buy, so we do have a bid right there right now. But here comes Nvidia, the name that we knew we wanted to get long, is now finally giving us that opportunity as the market goes right back to 19.9. And you guys may remember something when I said that this market probably today comes down in and looks at 19.8. Well, I mean, the low of the day is 19.780. From there, ripped up 200 handles. So if you gave yourselves 20 handles worth of risk right there, and I don't know, you have to zoom back in to see about that trade. Unfortunately, I wasn't taking it. That's giving you a heck of a return right there. So the NASDAQ has battled back a lot. It doesn't mean it's going to continue, right? You're up 0.5 right now, 0.6 heading into Jackson Hole. Let's just be realistic and talk about, like, you know, there are pitfalls here. I mean, the market's really battled back over the last couple of days. So you got to, or last 2 weeks, you got to remember there could be some air coming out of the market at some point. Yesterday broke that streak, right? We had 8 straight days of magic. And we're going to try to put some magic on right now on Nvidia. Yeah,
although it was even though it was only a really, really small down day, it still counts, right? You broke the streak. Wasn't a big one, could be the start of something. As we were talking about, we had a certain someone who liked it for the 20th to have a down day. Didn't say how much, but said it would be. I said we'd buy dips and look for 2 things, crypto or Nvidia. So that's the first available bounce. Bounces off of 73 or 74. It doesn't really matter which. Can it hold and get back to the high is going to be the question. It does have like a loose trend line since getting above VWAP. If you look at it like here, like that would be it. I want to see it bounce off this. It bounced once. I'm going to hit save so the next time I come back, it's still there. If it bounces off a second time, I like the ad. If it just carries right through here, punch out and wait around for VWAP if we can get it. I'm on the offer of Apple on the off chance it gets to VWAP. Should have just sat there in the first place. That was a big mistake. And wow, now it's starting to head into the downside. All right, is it going to hold? It's tempting. If it comes back out the other side, I add. If it doesn't, I'm out. There it goes. It doesn't hold on to 50. You can see right there. It's like, does it hold on? And if it does, I'm going to add above. If it doesn't, I'm out and wait for VWAP down there. Should have got that Apple, but I'm going to want to respect this until we either get down here. If we reclaim it, I might look for a re-entry, but I'm not going to hold all the way down into VWAP. Not going to do it. I wanted something short, and it was going to be Apple. I'll still stick around at 226.5, but I need to be able to get that fill if we get any more of a push to the upside. So eyes are still going to be on Nvidia. We get that nice bounce right back above, we'll take another shot at it. But once it violated that trend line from VWAP, that's where I want to get out I see a lot of people saying flush, but we're only down like 10, 15 points on the ES just now. And the NASDAQ still above 19.9, believe it or not.
All right. Oh, I believe it. All right. So we are long Nvidia. Our long average price is 74. We just took some out at 68 because, we're getting close to getting broken here. We're $1 in the money on that Microsoft reload, first of all. So, I mean, that's, this is a good one. And we got that fill. So we still have that 1/3. Remember, we reloaded that 1/3 there, brought it back into a full position. So this is part of sort of the best part about being on a prop floor is like we take a full position there, let's just say, get out of 2/3 for $1 twice. Then we reload that same position again and make another $1. So despite this going up and down, we've actually made, let's just say, $3 or whatever it is, $2 and change on this whole move, even though it's really just a $1 move because you're able to get that reload and get it pretty cheap. So that's the benefit of trading here and doing what I'm doing. And looking at the reload. Sometimes when you reload it, though, you don't get the best prices. But sometimes you have to sacrifice that.
You get what you
you get what you get, and sometimes you get upset.
You get what the market gives you, and that's what you always take. What the market gives you. I've learned that lesson so many times. If you hold out for the perfect price, sometimes if you got the level dead on, it doesn't want to go exactly there. Like if it's a big support or resistance, sometimes the better it is, the less chance you have getting that perfect fill in there. So you got to be willing to try to get it somewhere in the region so that you can have some success. That's one thing we're always trying to get better at. Like just now on Apple, like VWAP's a line on the chart and resistance was like 40 cents higher up here. So my brain thinks, okay, if the market presses, we're going to get fills up and around 70s and 80s where I got out of a long. So I was pegged to, or anchored to, I should say, anchored to where I covered a long before as a place where I was going to get short and then just missed the obvious, just short in the range. And now you see the market coming back. Well, you see Apple coming back, and I should say, off those lows. Now we'll just have to take whatever it wants to give us. If we're not going to make any bounce into VWAP, I'll look for some kind of a lower high. The plan would still call for it to get into VWAP. That's where I want to have this thing. But if it's going to give a lower high somewhere else, I might just go to that. Let me just double check. Did Intel? Intel failed to break.
Intel failed to break down?
It failed to break out, which means it would be a short off of that. If Intel fails a breakout, I like the reversal. Why do I like a reversal here? Because Intel tanked 3% in 10 minutes off of this level yesterday. So I would suggest that underneath that level, there's sellers on Intel. And it just failed to break at 21.45. So yeah, if I don't get Apple, I want Intel to this high, plain and simple.
So we're looking at 63 now on Nvidia. We just took a 50 fill there. That's it. So obviously, if we break too much below this, about 15 cents below 50s or so, we're going to get out, and that could happen immediately. So these futures do not look like they want to go up right now, but we did break the 50 period. So what I'm looking at is this chart right down here. There it is. There's the 50 period break, and here it goes. Downside. So again, not trying to average into this. I mean, if we lose 20 cents on Nvidia, so be it. That is something that's well within our pocket. I mean, we're holding $1 right now on Microsoft, and B. Riley is actually starting to go back up a little bit. We can have a quick look at this one. We only have about 20% left of this
thing
position.
Was dead.
But yeah, it's starting to go back up a little bit here for B. Riley. So yeah, just a little bit of a situation there. We'll wait to see where that goes. But I was going to just hold on to this until we did break. So yeah, B. Riley right now. Going back up to $8 is where my stop was.
Oh, that's not going up.
Just going to hold that. Well, that's where I'm short. I don't know. It might go. I don't know. All right. So Nvidia just dancing around. We're just going to have to wait to see if there's anything happening.
Oh, can you just one thing before, because I forgot to mention this when we talked about B. Riley earlier. I'll get to Mara. Mara just broke 1740. I'm out of it. I'm into the Intel that we said we'd try short. I'm not reloading Rivian on the bid at 13. That's the positions that we're in. But that Riley, I was in it as well. RILY. You have to remember, I think it was like the chairman or something, originally said he wanted to take this company private at $7. So if you look at, like I was long above 8, like a lot of other people, a lot of people were probably long at 8. The first time was good. This is a 15-minute chart. I took it twice. It lost 8 the second time. But this $7 support might have something to do with the fact that there was an original offer for this company at $7. Now, clearly, it traded underneath that a lot. But 7 is a very big level on Riley. If this loses that, bye-bye. Maybe it's an awesome short there. You know what? Now that I'm saying that, I'm going to check to see if I've paid for locates, because if it breaks that 7, I would think the floodgates could open up. So I'm just gonna. I did not pay for locates. I'm gonna go ahead and do that because it breaks this bottom. That's a flat bottom break.
Yeah, that's how we were able to get short on Riley. They're very, very cheap. So go over and grab those. All right, so on a market dip down, we got a piece out of Nvidia, went to 58, so we take a little bit, we take 10% out for 5 cents, but we probably should not have done that. Let's just wait to see what winds up happening with that. We'll let it settle down a little bit and just look at another name. So we did get taken out there on Amazon. That looks like a bad out, right? As it breaks through 180. But the thing is we were long at 179. But now, there goes Nvidia. So there it goes. We'll have to slap a fail on it, you know. It's a stock we just tried. It came back in. We knew we wanted to get long on Nvidia, but maybe a little bit too early there. So now we have 128 is what we have to stare at now. I just was too many shares there, too far away, right? And so I just didn't want to hold it all the way back down. Now, you know, it's like playing around with 20, 30 cents. So we'll wait to see if we can take this back into 128. But I mean, the market does not look very good right now. So I don't know if this is the right play. We are underneath the 50, but we wanted to wait for this. We might wind up just saying to ourselves, like, we should have just sort of followed our rules, wait until no play until we get that 130 break. And that kind of came in again. And it actually goes right back to the same high.
That's insane.
Like almost to the penny, I would think. It's 40s, right? It's 34s, something like that for that day high for Nvidia. So that came right in again, right there. So watch out for Nvidia. We'll play it off. We just took some long there. We're long at 30s. We're going to play it off that level, though, see if we're able to capture something on Nvidia. So far, not so good on this stock, but we're going to wait to see what happens when and if we break down near 128. So that's the next reload area for me. Now we'll see about holding this for as long as we possibly can back up to the upside, see if we can make some money back here.
Yeah, what's crazy is I was just in and out of Nvidia for the L, and I said the first time, I'm like, I'm not reloading Rivian at 13. Rivian bounces off 13 and goes higher. Then again, I'm not going to reload Rivian at 13. Market's weak. Rivian's starting to bounce off 13 and go higher. So the buying at this level on Rivian is legit. It's making me think about, like in the old PA, like why not just get out some if it breaks this local bottom on Rivian? Like why even hold past this? It doesn't even make any sense, because if it breaks it, you can probably just get back in at $10. So this is definitely a level where there's some accumulation happening on Rivian. I'm on the bid now. We'll see if I'm able to pick it up, but you had to be on the bid before to grab that. It is what it is. Apple's still not bouncing anywhere at all. I have the locates on Riley now. They cost 1/3 of 1 cent. Yeah. So yeah, exceedingly cheap. I was actually expecting a little bit more just because of the float on that bad boy, but I'm looking for VWAP here. We tried it up there, it broke the trend. I'm looking for VWAP 128. We're short on Intel. That failed to break out above 1745, so 2145. So we'll see what happens. I like Apple if the market's going to come back up. I'm not getting bid on Nvidia anytime soon, then I'm going to have the eyeballs on Apple. On the way up, I want to short this one off of VWAP. So I got to be ready for it if it wants to come in there. What else is going? Vin just said ASTS is going higher. I had to check myself because we had a trader visiting, and he had a much more colorful name for this stock that I feel like, I don't know if we can say that on YouTube. Probably not. But ASTS, unbelievable. It's going to break out again. Up 13%, and it retraced this entire move from 32 all the way up into almost $40. Yeah, this could be absolutely wild. I did not see that one coming. So ASTS looking to break out these highs. 39.60 would have been this local high up here. Let's just call it 40. If this does a 40 break, I feel like that's going to be a pretty, Nick J, that didn't get a block, but you're right in the chat, Nick J. If you want to be in the chat, even hit that like and hit that subscribe, but that is exactly what the trader called it, ASTS. So 40 break looking like it's looming here. Some size on the bid following it up for 50,000, but they're just a spoofer. So I've seen someone flash on the bid 50,000 shares. I don't think they actually want it, because when it got down like within a penny or two, they pulled it. So we'll see if they keep doing that again or if they take a fill. We'll let you know. Imagine spoofing at the high on that stock. Sometimes
spoofing is a very dangerous.
Well, but you know what they do, right? So there's a thing called auto cancel. So if you have a really good auto cancel system, like if you've got bids at multiple prices, like we have auto cancel, if let's just say I'm bidding Intel at 25 and bidding Intel at 20, and then I can have auto cancel on if 25 fills, 20 cancels. If you have a really fast one where your order's sitting server side, like right at the market, then it's going to cancel that instantly the second it gets the first fill. So when these guys want to spoof, these guys, whatever, whoever happens to be, Algo, whoever it is, all they have to do is put that massive bid underneath the best buy for your 50,000 or whatnot, have a 100 share or a min lot 10 cents higher, the other one's auto cancel. They can't actually get filled on that big lot because the second the early one's filled, it's just going to automatically cancel. Or server side, you can't be faster than them. So it's an easy way for them to cheat the system. Or game it, whatever, how you want to look at it. I would call it cheating. So anyways, we see those spoofers. Sometimes they're legitimate orders, and if they take fills, you want to know. So Intel, we're short off the previous high here. And there it is. There's your false break. Just to recap, not pulling this line and resistance out of a hat. This is where this thing died at the open yesterday. Don't even remember why this died at that price. I don't think it matters. If there were sellers before, let's just look for them to be there again.
Yeah, I think you're right. Right now, good examples there about the auto canceling and stuff. I mean, we got to understand the mechanics of the market. Nvidia right here. I mean, trying to go back upside one more time. So you can wait here for 128.70. I thought that's where I put an order. I did 128.70. So we're at 128.67 to see if we can capture a little bit back right now. So we are long down here at the bottom. We did get out once it broke through 50s. We talked about that. It was actually through 40s where we got executed at 39. We actually got a pretty good execution there. So that was good. But for right now, back into that long against VWAP. So yeah, lost a little bit of patience. I don't think we lost patience there. It came in, and I said that we thought this area was going to be something. So I feel like we were right. It's just, it did take, there it goes. All right, good. So we'll just go a little bit of a, small bang because we already lost. Like we lost on the bigger piece now. So we'll make some back. That's all good. And there it is right there. So that was a 30 to a 67. So we'll make back 37 pennies. It's good, but it's not on the same amount of shares. We had sort of leveled into it here a little bit. So now we'll wait to see, but it looks like a good out at the 50-period moving average. That's why we are charting some of these things. B. Riley, Nvidia, Microsoft. Okay, so they're all pretty small positions. I want to take something else at some point. I kind of glanced over Starbucks there a little bit, and I felt like it was back and forth. So look at that move again. Darn, man, it was just like it was just there. Absolutely. And we had said maybe going long there on VWAP, and then there's the move back up. But it's actually it's only 30 cents worth of range. I actually thought that was $1 when I was looking at it the first time, but it's only 30 cents. So maybe not that much. You just mentioned the name Tesla.
Well, Tesla's got a nice...
Yeah, like that's been moving. I feel like that's what we need to look at.
Yeah, it just did $1 pullback.
Or Google maybe. When we get back from Madera, I'm going to have a look at Google.
I didn't even notice you were wearing the hat.
This part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. If you feel lost in the noise of the market, then you need Benzinga Pro. Benzinga Pro cuts through the clutter and gives you the insights you need to make smarter, faster trades. From real-time news to unusual options activity, we'll show you exactly what's moving the market and why. Don't miss out on your chance to trade like a pro. Visit benzinga.com/pro and start your free trial today.
All right, yeah.
So you know what? This is a good point. Kling Daddy, you're right about this because you just said if someone sends a market order swipe through that can route to everything, then yes, of course, auto cancel can't work in every single instance. Believe me, I've been on the other end of that myself, where that happens. Right? I'm trusting auto cancel. There's just a big enough sweep order. As a matter of fact, the first time I actually screamed when I got a fill, it was when someone marketed an ungodly amount of shares on a stock that I was trading, such that I went from long at the bottom on a stock in a small range. Like I was like long averaged in out of the money. I went from long down here to short everything I had on the offer in one print because someone had marketed like 10 million shares on some buyout that had a 15-cent range. And I went from long at the bottom out of the money, 2 or 3 cents, to like short 5x the amount of shares that I wanted because nothing even canceled. Yeah, market order can do it. That said, if the size is gigantic, it can be a little bit rare that someone's going to use that type of an order. But if someone wants to take them out, they can. That's why usually that kind of stuff is going to be done by someone confident that there's not going to be a bigger fish doing that. So that's usually what you'll see. So a good look there. You're right about it. Tesla is bouncing a little bit here. Still have my eyes over there. Rivian's trying to take VWAP. Apple's getting close to VWAP for the short. But Tesla holding this nice little wick bottom. There's your wick bottom. There's your support. And trying to break back out. So it looks to me like the buyers are here at 227, 75 to 80. If I can get in there, giving it to that wick is actually exactly to 223.50. Giving it to that, I like that setup on Tesla. Intel is a whole 2 cents out of the money, so it's not really moving much. All right, it was just breaking out. The market's going back higher, but it's not really moving a heck of a lot there. Let me just get a stop order in on Tesla, so if it does dip down, we can catch it. I like Tesla long. It's above VWAP. I still like Apple to the short side as it's getting close into VWAP itself. So one above VWAP and trending higher, one underneath, red on the day, is Apple. Although it was a good long early, but I mean, that was the first half of the day. Actually, yeah, right at 11 o'clock, 11:15, right there. That's when it started to be a weak stock in my estimation. I guess it happened up there, but it doesn't really matter. If it gets to VWAP, we're still looking for that short. Didn't get the reload on Rivian. Should have just been on that bid the whole way. If it fails VWAP again, Rivian, I'm taking another leg out.
Wow, Coinbase is actually here. Look, just searching around for some stocks. Coinbase is actually at a decent level here at 204. It's at its day's high as Bitcoin continues to go, man. It's at $60,100, $6,100 right now for Cryptoverse. And I mean, it's just going. And needless to say, not gone yet, but seems like it might be up to 204.50 right now goes Coinbase. Wow, that name just continues to make moves. We had actually looked at Mara, and to say that we called the 1660 level, I mean, at this point now it doesn't matter. But there it goes. It did come back in against that level. Well, no, actually, it really didn't. That 1660 break was great. Then it held twice. Basically, holds there at 70, then holds there again. It doesn't break 50s. You don't go long at 60s and get out before 50. Nice move up there for Mara, double topping now at 1760. So potential short maybe on Mara if you wanted to. I can't blame anybody if you wanted to look at that one at that top. But watch out for Bitcoin as it is definitely catching a bid right now, which would go over to IBIT. And unless there's a reason to go short or long, I don't feel like there's really anything to do except for watch the trend on Bitcoin, because once it breaks, we know how devastating that could be. But for right now, 34.70, 34.60, we'll see if we can fade back in. 34.40 rate maybe right now on IBIT would be something to look at. So yeah, that's about what we're doing right now. I'm not really engaged in too many other things. Just looking at Microsoft, looking at Nvidia. We actually want to go longer on Nvidia. So if that can come through, let's try to think about that. Again, down here, we almost got that 128.05 or so. We'll see if it wants to go. We are still long Nvidia at 30s. So it's not like it's a super crazy position. Riley and then Microsoft. I want to get more Microsoft as well, but we got to wait for that trade. All these shorts have really come in. So we trust that read there on Softy, but needs to come in just a little bit more, and same with Nvidia. So Netflix, oh, you know what? Let's look at Disney, because Netflix I won't take. I can just look at it, but Disney right here now back above 90. And we actually looked at that earlier. Look at that break there of 90. It would have been failed right there, I think. But there was a nice move. So that second sort of break there on 90.
You know what they call that.
But the 50-period moving average has always been so good here on some of these.
Resistance to support on Disney.
Yeah.
I like
90,
it.
Yeah.
And that 90 level looking good, man. I like, you all know I like some Disney, as long as it's holding on to, it was like 80, actually it was more like an 88, 89 area, but it doesn't matter. 90 is above that. So go Disney. Obviously Netflix has been better, but an opportunity to, take something and get a little bit of a bounce on Disney looks good. So Tesla goes right into this consolidation range, and now it's just hanging out there. So it prints down underneath 223 at that 75 zone. So outside of this wick, your bottom is like 70, and then your high is 223.20 or so. So not much of a range. After that big breakout that we had in the market, you're getting a really tight range here on Tesla and a host of names going sideways. Apple is not, and it did just come into VWAP. So I said this time let's be not as patient. I didn't really get any fills last time, so I'll take some where it starts to curl underneath the 50 level. Look to see if it gets into VWAP where we can add to it. And Rivian's still no good. Nothing happening there. The other thing I was going to look for, of course, was I paid for locates on Riley. Looking for that. Whoops. Apparently there's an RILYL. whatever that is. I have no idea what that is. Maybe it's some kind of a
Samesies.
derivative or whatever. It doesn't matter. But it's breaking VWAP. So the idea behind Riley was if it loses the bid down here, it's like a flat bottom break. So the bottom is like $6.85. If it breaks that, who knows? Like, I don't know how far it could go down, but this last consolidated at 640 and it had a halt level at 575. So if you can take a break there, throw a stop at $7, assuming minimal slippage, probably 20 to 25 cents worth of risk, I'd say, on the high end, but it has to break that level for us to be able to get it.
All right, into some Nvidia again. We get that reload. Okay, so we do have a button for that, but I mean, who knows if it's going to work or not.
Reloaded.
Okay. Or reloaded. And here comes a nice move. All right, we just got reloaded at 20s. Let's just keep on taking a little bit out. This is how we make back what we lost already on that trade just by doing simply this. So there's a nice little reload upside there now. Downside, but now moving upside is Nvidia. So let's put some offers in the 40s there. We just got a nice fill, right? We wait for it, we get it. So now let's reward ourselves by getting some out. 20 cents now. I mean, we're sitting back and forth here, Neil and I talking like, oh, if we can get 20 cents, great. So I'm going to do it on whatever stock I trade. Like if we can get a bounce on some of these names, I'm going to take them. So that's what I just did right there. We only got out of about 25% up there. So it could still fall back in. And we do have a bigger order down at 128 flat. But you could see these lines are changing, forever changing, getting a little higher up here as NVIDIA's up on the day. So VWAP changing accordingly with it. We just took a bid there at 20s. So that worked out. And then those outs, one was 33, one was 38, I believe. So, yep. So hopefully we can get some higher bids now as we come right back in. So watch out. Now
that was a spike.
Yeah, now the market's starting to bleed a little bit to the downside now. So watch out. We'll see about an elevated trade. We're going to wait for 128. So that comes through. We're there. Otherwise, it's a hard pass for me on Nvidia reload. So we're going to wait for that price in and around 128. If you say, hey, I guess Sean's price would be 128.05, then you might be right.
Why would we guess 05?
Just giving people my price.
Oh. I would guess 17.
Yeah, it's at 17 now, so we're going to give this a minute here.
I didn't really think about that. That was the price that it was at.
I kind of like, I like 11s, like 98s. I don't know. I just kind of like ahead of even dimes. 98. That's always been.
Who's 98?
Scalping. No, nobody. Just what I was saying, it's like ahead of dimes.
I'm one of those. Yeah, I tend to. I like the ahead of dimes things. I like 12. I like 22. Right. For some reason, I like the 2s. 32. You'll often hear me say Magic Johnson, Will Clark, things along those lines. I don't know a famous 12. Otherwise, I would throw that in there for you. But one came out, long came out, so Rivian held.
This is the
Tesla
best thing
came
to
out.
vote on.
But I got the short on Apple, and that's starting to come back in. So the place that I should have gone first is the one that's going to end up working. We got a poll up. This
is why this is the best poll.
You got me.
It just says yes or no. So yes or no, Neil. Yes or no?
I don't know.
I did yes. I did yes. Pressure. I'm always a yes. I'm voting yes. I'm going to be forever the optimist.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
All right, so there we go. So I voted yes. So I'm a yes on that poll.
You know what? The way I see it,
I just hope it means the market's...
In life, saying yes as a default is just a little bit of an opportunity for you there. At the end of the day, say no when it really counts, but when you get a chance to do something or you get an offer, a lot of times taking a shot and just going yes is going to work.
Yeah, so there it is, man. Again, guys, I don't know, hit the super chats, hit the yes button, hit the no button, hit whatever you want. But what did we tell you? Neil said, why would Sean say he's waiting at 128.05? Just so when we get filled, everybody knows that's where we're waiting. And there's the 128.05 fill. And now we are out of half of that trade as it goes up another 20 cents. Remember, we said we're scalping this thing out 20 cents at a time. Give me my money back, Nvidia. And let's see if we can get another fill at 25 again.
Paid
demand his monies there. And we'll see if I can come back in. We have to use that usual suspect. Is that what that is?
Oh, no, that's Rounders.
Oh, Rounders. Yeah.
Malkovich.
Yeah, same guy, but I was thinking about a different movie. But there it goes. NVIDIA, one more move to the upside to get us out of another piece of that. Then we'll hold, and it'll be a good hold. We still have some shares. It'll be a decent size, but it's about a third of what we put on down there because we took out half. We'll take out another spot right now, probably about 40%, and then we'll hold for a fly. So let's see if we can fly upside there back into the 50 period of 128.50. I do have the stop order in there for 10 cents, so if we blow below 129 or 128, you guys know that the account will not freeze up, but stop out. So
That movie-
hopefully that comes back in right now.
That movie, Rounders, is a great movie for
Yes,
traders.
seems to
It's a
be
great
winning,
movie
by the
for
way.
traders. Because a lot of the lessons learned in that one, I think you have the two main characters. I won't spoil too much of Rounders if you've never seen it. It's a poker movie.
Yeah.
But the two main characters, one of them's all about the shortcuts. And the other one learns the lesson of, sort of having a system. And he has a mentor who's like, take it seriously if you want to make a living playing poker. And it's just like, don't go with the shortcuts. Surround yourself by the right people and make good decisions. I mean, all Hollywood movies have messages like that, but it's a great one for traders, man. I love it. Matt Damon and Ed Norton.
Yep.
Unbelievable actor. Ed Norton's legit. So Apple came back in 226.10 filled. I didn't get it. I got back up here at the 20 level and some 25s, as it's seemingly like it's not a huge range. Like this is kind of the range the last 15 minutes or so. Intel is still okay, so it's still above VWAP. Like it failed that big breakout, comes back in, can't break above the previous high, which is what we're looking at, but it can't yet get to VWAP. So I'm sitting on the bid right here, Jesse Barfield, and then we got 127s, and we're at literally VWAP, because sometimes you just put the order right on the line and see if you get filled. So I got some bids in here if we get into VWAP. That was an accumulation zone, so we'll hang on to it if we can. So that's going down. Apple's heading to the downside. Riley, we're at 305. At some point, if Riley does nothing, I'm not going to hit this if it breaks short at 347 or something like that. Like this needs to do something soon. Otherwise, clearly the longs are winning out on this stock temporarily. I mean, beneath $8, it was a short, but it's not doing a heck of a lot yet. And I don't want to have that order sitting out there just in case you forget. That ain't a stock that you want to have an order on and you forget about it.
Like there's a couple times today where I've made myself not feel very well. And it's happening again right now because the money's just not pouring in, but it's coming in here on Nvidia off of this 128. And it's like, again, we lose money in here when we shouldn't be really looking at it. We took a shot. We wanted the fallback, right? Initially, we thought that the fallback into the 50 period would be something. So we took it and we got out. So I'm actually pretty fine with that trade, but it's like these are the ones here where if we don't take this hit, I probably put on a lot more risk down here, and then it's really pay dirt, but it's still pay dirt. What's that video game console there, Ramin and Fabian, that we have that little sound effect for that I keep spending tons of money on over and over and over again? I like it right now. What up now, Roblox? There it goes, man. Mr. Ryan Faluna, shout out. I mean, this guy was like, Sean, man, that call that you had on Roblox at $34, $35 was a good one. Thank you, Mr. Ryan Faluna. Look at this move right now. $43, $44 as it continues to go to the upside. I may spend an extra $15 today, buy my kids whatever Robux they want for $15. And it's been a nice move up there. Actually, my kids are super busy. My daughter's at a baseball camp this week. My kids right now trying to check out that Cybertruck, apparently with the wife there, having some burgers priest. They're killing it right now. But look at Roblox, up 7% and still going. So that name just continues to go. Thank you guys in the chat for making my day on that one. But you know what else is happening right now? Oh no. Microsoft, ciao, to the downside right now. Look at this. That's a dollar winner right now for Microsoft as it pulls back in. So yeah, man, we like that stock, Microsoft, pulling in right now into the 200 period moving average. I may just take this trade right here, right now on Microsoft and forget about it because it's at a level where we can do exactly that. Props it up. We talked all about this trade. It's Microsoft. It's fantastic. It's real. And you love it. It's Mr. Softy right there for a nice little dollar winner on that name. So, wow.
The shorts are definitely coming in right now. I got to pivot to another one. I just missed it. Ben, whatever this stock is, whatever. I heard them say Bravo Echo November. And then I also heard investigation. And then I saw this wick to the downside. I went over to the punch. All right, it's starting to come back in. So criminal probe into, yeah, that's not a good headline. Where's the rest of it? Criminal probe into Wamco reportedly focuses on cherry picking. Let's see if we can't find another headline that's a little more descriptive than that.
There it goes.
But last I checked, criminal probes attached to any stock are not a good thing. So this one is making fresh lows. It's already down 10%. So they were getting, oh my goodness. It's also breaking out a 52-week low. Yeah, that's nasty. Only going to look shorts on this. Hopefully back in the previous. So when any news break, the first thing I look for on a retracement is back into the previous bottom. So if it broke a low, let's see it hang out underneath that low. That's right around 20.5, 20.60. I'm going to leave the order in there if we get picked up. If we get a more descriptive note on that pops through, I'll let you guys know. But I literally heard him say the symbol Bravo Echo November. I didn't even hear the company, pulled it up and saw that, and I heard investigation. But the criminal probe is a lot worse than just your average investigation. So we're looking VWAP here in Intel. The problem with this one is it's above VWAP, but I like the false break. Apple's now 35 pennies in the money. The low would only be about 30 cents from here on Apple. Let's go to Adara.
Story here with Franklin Resource. We did have that report coming in from Bloomberg with regards to the cherry picking, but this story actually started earlier today when the company announced that Michael Buchanan would be appointed as its new chief investment officer. Its other co-chief investment officer, Ken Leach, taking a leave of absence because he has been apparently receiving a Wells notice from the SEC. So this Ken Leach under investigation. This is an ongoing story. Trying to find that Bloomberg article, saw the headline, but unable to find this article. But just so you guys know, this story actually initially started moving earlier today with regards to the appointment of a new CIO as CIO Ken Leach on leave during this Wells notice SEC-related investigation, guys.
All right.
It took me a while to Franklin Resources, Ben.
Right, that was a good one.
That took a couple seconds to
That's a great symbol. I've never heard of that company before, so I don't think.
I'm pretty sure nobody's heard of that company.
Okay, yeah, maybe. Maybe somebody has. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. Somebody will say.
People will say they have. All right, so yeah, man. I mean, we got dropped down there on Nvidia. We still have a piece of it. We'll see if it wants to get any higher, though. Not really. Again, I prefer that short. We did already cover that on Microsoft. It did really rinse down, and that's like when I see like little sort of capitulation, like it happened right here. Bounce back up huge. It's happening again. I could see a retracement happening right now for Microsoft. We had a very similar event there on Nvidia as well. But I'm sort of getting ready to dig my teeth into something else. But what about the futures? So we just had a move down on the TQs as well. So here's 71 on the 20-minute chart. It's 50-period moving average. We do have, it's like 71.15s. Want to try to go long down there. We get another drop into that level. Feel like we want to go long. I mean, the market's still up. The TQs are up 1%, which means the NASDAQ's up 0.3. So we're still up okay. We did just drop in. You see that? Like that, if I can get long starting the position in and around here against that 71.15, that's what I want to do. So that would be a trade to start. So if it does get a little bit of a flush action coming through now, I'm going to be sitting here picking this up. So I'm bidding 28s, and then we're bidding that 17 level, and then hopefully be able to hold that, but only like 10 or 15 cents against us. If it breaks too much below that, then we want to get out. But I think it's worth the shot on the NASDAQ because there's been so many times where we've seen this sort of happen. And maybe right now, well, that's the one-day chart, sorry, on the NASDAQ where we just barcode into the afternoon, right? I mean, there's been lots of breakouts and whatnot, but we're now in the last hour. So like yesterday we had a nice move up. That's at 350, then a move down. And right now we just had that move back in on the futures all the way to the top where we shorted Microsoft and whatnot. But now you're falling back in sort of into this bottom again and running into some areas of technical support of the 200 period. So I think that we could possibly hold this area on the TQs. So if we're able to get something down there, we will take a shot in the dark and then wait to see about a hold. And if we break below, we break below, and we'll get hit there if that does wind up happening. Riley's not doing anything. Microsoft, again, we're out of. So now we'll wait for this move back down in on the NASDAQ. I mean, that's going to be the plays for me. Oh, I mean, we keep talking about the same names, Apple, but PayPal. So for my scanners, it's kind of always the same names. Like I only have the same names on my scanners.
Yeah, exactly.
If there is anything there.
I only know Ben because of the news.
I sold Clover today because I have no idea what's going on. I mean, some people.
Well, yeah, why is Clover up?
I don't know. I got out at 340 in my personal account for a hit. I lost about 20% on this name. It's just we were down way more. I let this one just sort of die. And now we get back out when it comes all the way back up to the upside. We're like, okay. So we'll have to wait to see what happens now with Clover. But yeah, still up 12% again. The CEO, I believe, bought some shares back on the 14th. Okay. They did also report. So a couple
Buying
on
is
the 14th or something like that.
Buying is important. Actually, Michael Nossi from Trade Ideas, great guest. We love him, friend of the show.
Never heard of him.
Used to
Michael
say all
what?
the time. Buying when you have insider buying, it means much more than insider selling. Sometimes insider selling when it's monster chunks, when Jensen sells a monster chunk or Bezos like that ridiculous amount, those matter. But in a general sense, they got to sell at some point. But if someone's buying it up, that's where you want to know. Okay, so why no is okay. So look, Ben Franklin is not going up. So instead of trying to short a pop, I just went for a 20 break, and I'm like, okay, why am I not filled? Why am I not filled? It's down over 10%. It's SSR.
Right.
So I fired a breakdown trade through 20, and why am I still not getting filled? Give an uptick and actually fill me. You know what? I'm going to hit refresh because I feel like I'm getting traded through there. I'm literally sitting on 1990 and have not. It's all dark pools. That's why. There has not been a print that's not a D. Yeah, it's just all Ds on the time and sales. All right, I'm just going to leave it in. Leave it in, see if we can't get a fill. Someone's going to have to print a real gateway at some point on this stock. Apple is pressing down into the lows. Ben Franklin is going lower. There's an uptick to finally get the fill on BN. If it breaks back up, I'll give it to like 10s. But wanted to short the first available pop. But you know what they say, if there's no pop, then the stock must drop.
Right.
And they don't say that. No. I just said that, and I've never said it before, and I'll possibly never say it again.
You might say it again.
Ben Franklin, criminal probe was the headline that we got. Great looking name. I wanted to short anything back into the high, but I'm going to take it on the 20 break, give it about 15, 20 cents. If it ends up breaking back into here, I'll get out and look for a re-entry on the original plan, which is usually short back into prior resistance. Apple is still heading into the downside with the market. Low of the day, 225.65. You know what? This has been an inside day all around. Remember what Nvidia did, where it tagged that high to the penny and then turned? Yeah, well, I don't need Apple doing that. If we get there, I'm going to get out of Apple, going back over to the other short. Intel has yet to creep its way down to VWAP, so it's moving very, very slowly into VWAP like nothing is happening, because that is what Intel does as it heads back into the downside. So new trade is in Ben Franklin, which is not on the Australian market. It's at 1996. We're short here at 1995. Big drop in on that investigation.
All right. We're going to just continue on with business as usual and just continue to watch out for this little dump off here. We did have an exciting stock today, was Meta. So as we continue to watch out, see what Meta's doing here today. Up 1% still, which is nice. The market's down up now, 0.27. So we can watch out here for Meta and see what it wants to do. Breaking below VWAP. Again, with this market sort of trending back into the downside, we talked about that big trade or some sort of a trade that we'll look for on the TQs. That just didn't fill, so we're going to have to wait to see if that comes in. SPXL. All right, so SPXL again. This is the 3 times bull for the market. So that just is hitting VWAP right now, and so is the NASDAQ. So here it is. It's a continuous push down right now. Finally looks like it wants to take down VWAP to the downside. Goes the market and NASDAQ. So hold on to your shorts, man.
Hold on to your,
what did Bart Simpson say? Eat my shorts?
He said eat your shorts.
Yeah, so.
About getting out on Apple.
Eat my shorts too much here, but.
Okay. I said I'm going to get out of Apple if it tags that bottom, so it did. This is it, hitting the low and bouncing. So we ring the register on Apple. Ben just got struck by lightning there as it retook the low of the day, and you're starting to consolidate underneath. I'm looking 19.5 here. There's nothing going on in terms of levels. I should pull up a weekly, because I suppose if you go even further, there's nothing. I don't see anything out here. There's basically nothing going on. There we go. This is that $20 level, which we already know about, that's broken, but you have nothing underneath this on Ben Franklin or Franklin. I already forget. It's Franklin Resources? Franklin
Exploration Company?
Franklin Exploration.
Franklin Dollar Bill Company?
It is Franklin Resources.
Okay.
See? I'm so bad with the symbols or the company names, and I'm like, I'll probably get it wrong. We got that one right. So the market is headed to the downside. Looks like it's a little bit of a tiny flush, but Apple looking weak, and Bora Hout, Upstart's running another round. Upstart's going up in all this.
What?
Why would Upstart be going up? So squeeze name at the high of the day. I'm basically just holding on to these two shorts. I already got out of Apple. Ben, I'm looking 19.5 as the next level. Upstart, here we go. Eventually we're going to load up. The daily chart's taking a while. Yeah, Upstart's super strong. This rebounded from a huge volume wick reversal to go right back into the highs. That's usually bullish. Like when you do this kind of a topping tail candle on that kind of volume, a lot of times that's the stock's about to dump. Get out of your longs, but that's trying to make some fresh highs. That's a short entry for a lot of people. A lot of day traders would short that pretty heavily. To be honest with you, if I like a level short, that's usually an obvious entry for me, which wouldn't have stopped out yet. So Upstart looks like it could still break out. Gonna nurse these two shorts, see what happens on Upstart maybe, if it can take out some highs. It's 320, so we get 10 minutes away from the early look on the imbalances. My spidey sense thinks that you could have some sell imbalances after we didn't do a heck of a lot. We got the Fed minutes, and you have some things pulling back a little bit there. Don't? Oh.
Yeah, the sell imbalances could be coming in here. We did talk about that over the last couple of days, right? About like what this market means right now. And we had that turnaround day yesterday, possibly, remember. And so that's going to be
Turnaround Tuesday.
Yeah, turnaround Tuesday, right? It was that one day where we kind of just, whoopsies, we went back into negative territory, finally 8 straight up days. But here we go, man. We talked about a position that we would have on. Promised you we'd do it. It's the TQQs, long at 71.20 right now. Again, I already have the out if we break below 71.10. I don't even want to be involved too much if that goes through there. There will take some 26s. Let's see if we get some 26s and 27s now. Back to the upside. Here we go. We're starting to fly just a little bit. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going to now endorse DJT. So that's apparently now official coming from ABC. So do not shoot the messenger here. This is just what we're talking about again. So that's the plan of action. It doesn't look like DJT is moving. And this story, again, was already out there. It was reported by us and by you guys on our chat earlier. So no surprises there for DJT, I would think. So maybe that move is already baked. But right now, we're not getting baked at all on this TQQ trade. So let's just watch it and see if it does want to bounce up aside a little bit. We're already long. We sort of talked about this. We want to give ourselves about 10 cents worth of risk, if not a little bit less than that. So risk on right now for the TQs. We're taking this one, just bouncing off of some levels here that I thought might work out. And it was just based on that flush. So I don't know. I mean, there are lower lows coming through here, but we've sort of got that flush before, and it was right into here. So that flush down, we wanted to give it back to 71.20 or so. And again, it was the 20-minute right here, 50-period moving average. So just something, the last couple times, it's really, support. I would think this is support. All you can really do is put on the trade and see if it sort of holds out for you. So that's what we're doing right now. I'm not even giving this that much room because of this. It's really bad. The trend right now is a friend to the shorts, not to the long. So to be triple long now doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. But dare I break it down?
With regards to DJT, we actually still don't have a hard comment from RFK Jr., though as of about 2 p.m., his press secretary did tweet that he will be set to address the nation live on Friday about, quote, the present historical moment and his path forward. So that was already happening as of 2 p.m. Now, a couple of minutes ago, we have ABC News reporting that he is set to step down. So again, he has not confirmed it, though. That is speculated to be what this announcement will be on Friday. So again, just clarification, no stepping down from RFK Jr. as of yet. Set to speak on Friday. ABC News just reporting that that's what's in the cards, guys.
All right, so that's what's up.
Thank you very much there, Dara. We appreciate it.
Like that.
Ooh, in the chat, Girl Trader. Yeah, Girl Trader, first, welcome. I wish you guys would put on swing trades too. So every now and then you will hear us say what we do in our personal accounts. I've put on some swing trades in my personal account, but here at Real Trading, we are day trading firm capital as prop traders. So we don't hold anything overnight because we can't hold anything overnight. Now, the only time you hold overnight was, I think the last time I got into position on Southwest live on the show, the stock halted and it didn't open until the next day. That was overnight holding. It was an unintentional swing trade. It gapped down and I lost. But swing trades, every now and then we'll do it. I've had a swing trade on a penny stock recently, Tellurian. Now they're being bought for $1. I should check that one out again. But every now and then you'll see us talk about our personal accounts. We make that distinguish, that
I mean, I just talked about Roblox.
Yeah, exactly. Distinction is what I was looking at. We'll make that distinction for you, but here we don't put anything on that you'll see down below that's held to the next day.
Man, I forgot about that.
That's just how it is. You know what? I've been really bad about ensuring that I fill my water in the afternoon show. It gets ridiculous. Like I just don't do it. So I'm going to take my final gulp of this, and then hopefully get a refill when I got to do the aftermarket show. We're not going to have Chris, so we're going to do some Q&A. Got Snowflake's earnings.
It got fixed.
His internet got fixed and went right back down again 15 minutes later. Unfortunately, he's having some issues with his internet, and they can't keep it up. So unfortunately,
not have Starlink.
You need to get that Starlink.
I would think so. Here we go. TQ's back upside, man. Nvidia, let's roll. Let's ride. Are they saying that in Pittsburgh right now, or are they saying we're screwed?
Only if they're mocking
Justin
him, they say.
Fields right now, and boy wonder, Russell Wilson over there. We're going to see if any one of those guys can make it happen for the steel curtain over there in Pittsburgh.
Spoiler alert, no.
Spoiler alert, just hand the ball off to hopefully Harris and throw it then to Warren, as we're keeping both.
Isn't Warren's hurt there?
Really? Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that's probably better for Najee, so that's okay. Here we go. Nvidia TQs. We're starting to rock and roll now. Here we go. Come on, TQQs. Back up into the 30s. Guess what we're long, guys? 12 and a half right now on the TQQs. We actually, I mean, okay. We nailed this trade. We talked about this trade. We said this is the trade we're putting on. TQs off this 50-period moving average comes in. We take it. Now it's upside move. So, yeah, man, we will do the old Barry Horowitz and props up ourselves on that one because that's a good trade right there on Nvidia as well. As look at that bottom right there coming right into support. We take it, and now we get some out on the upside. So we're making back pretty much everything we've lost so far on this whole move down. So that's so far so good. And that's the sort of what's been afforded of us as we talk about, you know, being on this floor and prop trading and whatnot, being able to get back in and out and only being worried about getting stopped out if you over risk. And I don't ever do that really. So yeah, we're fine. Here goes, I mean, I over risk, but we have stops, so we'll get blown out sometimes. But here comes Nvidia. Oh yeah, not getting blown out over here, my guy. Nice move upside now for NVDA. Let's just keep on going, man. Good vibes only. And whoa, hello, a nice little order there. Attention, everybody behind us. There is a big order on Nvidia at 128.15 right there. A couple 100,000 shares right there. Yeah, hit those alerts.
That's a big old order.
One more time, Fabian. Fabian, what? Okay, Fabian, stop it. Okay, one more time. You did get trapped right there, so I'll hit it right there. All right, let's go. Here we go. It's a nice move upside right now for that. The TQs is bust, by the way. It's a bussin', as the kids say. Is that what they say, Adair, these days? Nice move to the upside for the TQQs. And man, all we had to do was sip the Hydration Nation, and now we're almost back to days high for ourselves. So yeah, buddy, when it works, and it's working right now for those TQ trade. And I told you guys, I said we're gonna put on a big position down here on the NASDAQ. We said we were going to do that. We did it. This is called real trading. We put those shares on board. We've got it. It's futures trading. You know, all of you that have said like just stick with futures trading, you're probably close to being right on that one as it just continues to go there. There's an out for us on Nvidia, and we should get some more out on the TQs right now. 43s, I mean, we'll take that if we can. We just got another piece on Nvidia. We'll take some more out here on these triple Qs, and that is a good wrap, hopefully, for the day here. If we could continue higher, that'd be all right. We'll punch out a little bit now because we missed those 43s. Now let's see if it wants to go a little bit higher. Still short this B. Riley & Co.
Yeah, B. Riley. Okay, I've canceled my order on B. Riley. It's not breaking that $7. Ben just tried to retag the 20 level. BEN, that's that Franklin stock. Bounced off VWAP on Intel. I'm hanging on to about a quarter of the position. If it breaks VWAP, I want like 18s, 19s. We'll see what happens. Ben went right up to 20 even. Of course, unless you're sitting on the offer. When it bounced off 20 on the way back down, you couldn't get 97s and 98s because it's short sell restricted down over 10%. So I once again get like 94 or 95. If it breaks 20, I'm out. We retrace the lows. We'll see what happens there. Apple is bouncing to its previous low and turning. So bouncing to previous low. Not sure it's going to even get VWAP in here. I still think this can be a short. But I want to see what happens overall at this. If it bounces and makes that low and holds it again, we can wait for that top. I want to be patient with Apple, see if it wants to roll over here or bounce a little higher, because that could just be a little bit of a head fake. The way this market's bouncing, always wait for the price that you really like. If the market's trending back to the upside, I'd rather sit and wait for the perfect price as opposed to just jumping in off of those lows. So still just with Intel and whatever the heck that sucker is going to be called these days. But with 1 minute to go, we're going to get some early look imbalances. I'm anticipating not much because they're always on the New York, so all the NASDAQ names don't give you early looks. But we'll see what happens in about 1 minute. Still only want to be short Apple, so I just have to be patient with this bounce.
So now 40 handles in the money on the NASDAQ trade as it continues to go higher here. So far, so good. 50 cents now in the money on Nvidia as that's starting to go back up to the upside. Too many trades, obviously. But if you don't put the last one on, then you don't have this move. So, yeah, you know, it is back and forth, sort of battling with this stock all the time. And that's what Nvidia is. For me, anyways, a battle all the time. And I like it. That's why we're here right now. It will be a good day for us. So we're pretty happy with what we've been putting on right now. Remember, our stop on B. Riley is a flattened through $8. So if that does come through, we'll watch that one more time, trying to catch that bid early. It got it, man. It was halted. Got that news there. Nice try to buy out. And I think around $7 we were talking about. So there, no surprise that it was the bottom. We get some out at 7 off of this 804 short. So far so good here. But yeah, could have got it all out at the bottom, of course. The TQs, again, this is that futures trade that's really started to hum a little bit for me now. It'll be my third highest stock today. We have some red stocks, right? We talked about that with Nvidia. We kept on getting blown out of Microsoft up here. That was crazy. Like we got out at 426.50 or 426.30 there, and then it just dropped $4 or $3 almost immediately once we got out. Like almost immediately. Like 2 minutes later, maybe less. Big, huge move down, and then this was good though. Made some money back there on Microsoft. But other than that, man, yeah, B. Riley, Microsoft, Nvidia, 50 cents, TQs is right there as well. We are out of about 70% or so of the Qs. Yeah, we will. About 70% or so of the Qs. So we'll have to wait to see if that wants to trade again. We just got some more out at 45s. Let's wait to see. It's 50 periods right there. Let's put an offer at 60. If we get it, we get it. And now, without any further ado, it's Adara at the screen.
Lots of strength in a lot of these sectors, but what we're going to do is take a look at some of these S&P 500 names making outsized moves to the upside or downside. And today's theme is going to be upgrades and downgrades. First off here, we do have this upgrade for Take-Two Interactive, currently up about 3%, getting a price target increase here with a buy rating from Benchmark, going from $200 to $210 for TTWO a couple weeks after their earnings. Texas Instruments definitely removed from its highs of the day. Still at more than 2%, though, with this upgrade to a buy rating and a price target increase from Citigroup. Yesterday, we know during midday, they did have their executive announcing that they were set to deliver revenue of $26 billion in 2026 if market conditions are ideal. Elliott Management also saying that they were impressed by Texas Instruments making this statement. Keep in mind, they're an activist investor involved. So interesting look here for TXN with that upgrade. Last but not least, a downgrade here. AXP, American Express, selling off pretty heavily throughout the day, down more than 3%. Getting a downgrade from buy to neutral here by BofA Securities with a $263 price target. Lots of interesting names to talk about today, guys.
Ooh, not good for you, AXP. But look, there's so much that's moving around today. The one that came in on the news there on Benzinga, which I'm actually hearing some stuff about, and okay, it's nothing burger. It's just talking about something with Israel. Not a big deal. So Ben broke that 20 level. We reloaded it in front. It was a breakdown originally. We reloaded right in front of 2020, broke. We're out of that trade. Apple came right back in. Said, I want to be a little bit patient to see how it reacted at that, let's call it like, it's not really the previous low. I know I said the previous low, but kind of like this higher low in here, which was the most adjacent bottom. It bounced right in, held underneath. The next candle on a 3-minute was again weak, so we punched it short at 70s, got a bid at 50s as it's starting to hold back again. So if it breaks out this top, I'm out. If we retake the low, we're going to hold into that. Intel, I don't know about a reload. Actually, it's only 333.
Yeah, it's
okay.
not too much time.
You know, for some reason, I was like, oh, it's like we're like 5-10 minutes or underneath 10 minutes into the imbalances. There's still some time. With Intel, just to zoom out, it's where it dropped at the open yesterday, underneath that previous close on Monday. Wick top there, lower high, just looking for the breakdown. If the market does want to go lower, it's not like Intel's been a great stock in the long run. I think we all know that. So if it breaks VWAP, great. needs to hold on underneath 21.40, however. Like, that's the price. If it breaks above 40 out, as long as it curls at that price, I like it. The problem with Intel is it always, if it has an imbalance, it always pairs off. But it often has like a million share imbalance. So technically, it's not one that I love getting an entry point right at like 349, because you can get in and all of a sudden there's an imbalance of 1 million one way or another and it stops you out for no good reason. You almost want to trade after 350 if you're going to put it on. Still time though, 15 minutes to go until those imbalances come through. Apple, let's see if we can get a reload in that one. If it's going to hold this lower consolidation, then we'll go for that. For whatever reason, Apple is weak. I'm not going to sit here and explain to you why, because it doesn't really matter what my opinion is. I came in today bullish on Apple, obviously. Now it's just going lower and lower. While the market has higher lows, this has lower lows. That would be the definition of trending in the opposite way.
Yeah, I mean, this is trying to find some opportunities, basically, is what we're trying to do now. Okay, so Nvidia's 50 cents. I was thinking about just putting an offer rate here at 26 cents. I feel like that's probably the right thing to do. If it does want to spike back up, let's just get out. We'll put it at 23s. It just keeps on bouncing right there. So we'll see if we can get that fill. Again, 128.10 falls back into there. I don't know. You could reload it. We're pretty happy with our positions. Like Neil said, 15 minutes. We've seen some big imbalances come through. Come on, I'm at 23. Did we get the fill? No, we did not. Come on, man. It just screamed through 22s and stops. That's okay. We'll get it. We'll get it. We'll get it. Nice trade here on Nvidia anyways, 45 cents, 50 cents in the money. Hopefully we'll be able to get that fill coming through on that one. The TQs, again, we're trying to be a little bit greedy with this one, but now I'm seeing that that is the 50 period at 57. So let's just put an offer now at 53s instead of 60s. We were at 60s before. Maybe we get touched up here at 53, which is right here right now. The 200, the 50, all... I can't just miss this by that. Okay, I'm just punching. I just punched some 49s there. Forget about it. We punched some 49s. Like, it went to 52 and stopped, so that would drive me crazy if I missed that, as well as Nvidia. So we'll take a 49 out there on the TQs for 35 cents. Or, yep, that's about right. 37 cents, 37 cents. And then right there, we did miss that out, so we'll have to wait for that right now. Okay, let's keep going. Square rate now. Okay, nice move up. SQ. All right, so the U.S. Department of Justice is doing something with Nvidia right now. So I see ya. I'm going to get out of this stock almost immediately. And then now we are out, and we will get out of that one. NVDA, there is a story right now about competition.
And they're saying AMD too.
I'll try to go short here. We'll get that story in a minute. Nvidia's aggressive sales tactics will backfire, says the information, and I don't know. We'll find out. Adara obviously over there and on it. So once she sees something like that, we'll bring it to you a little bit more.
Aggressive
but you know what? Honestly, haters gonna hate.
It's more like nah. We're better than you. That's their sales tactic.
So let's just wait to see if people.
Seriously, we are better than you is their sales tactic.
All right, we just got. Oh no, we didn't. Yes, we did. We got filled at 93 right there. So again, have the ability to flip it over, see what's gonna happen. So there it is. We get out, and now we go short on that news. Let's see if it does break now with Nvidia. Look, man, it's only 20 cents. Let's see if it gets a little bit lower than that. If this is DOJ related news. And again, we'll get it from Adara, and I don't want to be, misquoting things. Obviously, that's not what we're in the business of doing. So let's just wait to hear on that. But it was enough for me to flip out. We just missed that fill there, which kind of sucks. But we punched out at 07s and then went short at 05s. So far, so good. I am going to take another piece out here on the triple Qs because, hey, don't need to be short everything based on this news. So let's take another piece out there on triple Qs and now get lighter and lighter heading into the close. And we'll just wait to see if this story hits mainstream or not. Because if it does and anything comes out about DOJ and Nvidia, I guarantee you this thing drops at least $1.
And remember, no buybacks in the last 10 minutes. Companies can't buy back. It's another reason why if a big cap name gets a sell imbalance or bad news at the end of the day, they can't just defend the bid with buybacks. And that can affect the market, especially like the Qs in the last 10 minutes. Let's go to Adara for
this article from The Information isn't actually a news piece per se. It is mostly an interview with Jim Culler, who is the CEO of this developer called Tense Torrent. Literally, it's interesting too. The title of the article is literally "Nvidia's aggressive sales tactic will backfire," says Rival. So it's mostly this guy's take on Nvidia's sales tactic. It does mention the DOJ investigation, which was initially reported in early August. So no news on that investigation. This article is just kind of a rehashing of Nvidia's take and one man's take on how this tactic might impact its business. This Jim Culler also used to work as an executive at AMD, Intel, Tesla, Broadcom, and Apple, according to this article. Again, this article mostly just an interview with him. Very little here in terms of actual news, rehashing of that DOJ investigation, which again reported in early August, and this man's take, guys.
Sorry, wait for it there. I mean, that doesn't feel that bad. So I just got out there at 95, not out. I took another fill at 95, just because, like, you know, if that's what's going to be, that's fine. And then there goes the TQQs right back up to the upside. So again, that's what day trading is all about, right? In the wild lessons again here from Trader TV Live. And it's just, you know, trying to figure out what the market's doing, react to it, and trade around it, right? And so there goes Nvidia. We sort of heard that news. We do take a piece out. Let's reload this now. At the 50 period here at VWAP. If we can get a trade short, I'm fine with going short on the market. I don't have any problems with doing that right now or on the stock. I don't think we're in too much of a danger zone, but we do have those imbalances. So that's the one thing that could fly through. There's TQs, man, right back up to the top. So it looks bad because we got out of a third of what we have left right there. But that was still 42s. I mean, it's only 10 cents. Maybe we fly, just a little bit higher there. So that's the TQs. Nvidia right back into the money now as well, back into the 90s again. So we do not get that fill. I was at 14s. It went to 13s. I honestly can't make this stuff up, but that's where we were waiting. So let's wait a little bit more aggressive at 10s now and see if we get that as we just scalp back and forth. Hope you're enjoying yourself today. I know we are. It's been a good day. We started off with some bangers early with Apple, with Nvidia. We lost our way a little bit trying to go long on Microsoft. Or was it short or long?
You got a lot of questions about Clover.
Yeah, I saw that. I sold Clover my own PA, but you can go over that if you want.
No, I know we've gotten a lot of questions about Clover, and I want to go over it on the daily.
50s now.
Like it's actually broke that 50, but it's at $3.51. So it's not as if it's going absolutely haywire to the upside. So I'm going to pull out the daily chart. I could go further back, and you can see how nasty it is in a longer time frame. But there's resistance in the range that's already broken here at about 330 to 350. Then you've got this level up here closer to $4, like a 375, 380 on Clover is going to be the one. So it's got some room to get to that level. Look how slowly it's moving. Like someone asked, do you like a 350 break? It's good volume spike, biggest volume spike of the day, and not really doing much going into it. So if you're $3 stock on a breakout, I'd want it to move a little bit more than that. That said, sometimes you end up in something you think is going to go, and it's a smaller range. So it's not bad. The $3 stock, it goes 5-10 cents. You can definitely do something with it. I'm not reloading. It's now past 340. Kind of canceled my offer when I didn't get filled up here on Intel. Just going to sit on the bid, see if we can get it down around VWAP. Apple, we're going to give another chance here. Seems like it wants to continue to press these lows. Did another wick bottom here on Apple. We re-entered the trade. If it cannot bounce underneath 225.40, again, we'll look to get out on the front side of these imbalances, or at least tighten the stop, right? So instead of stopping out here, maybe stop it out in the 50 to 60 range. So Apple has been bleeding a little bit to said downside. That bend was probably a bad out for me. We said we'd stop it here at 20. There's that wick. And we try to get back in, but it's short sell restricted, meaning over 10% down. I can't hit the bid to go short. I tried to get back in underneath 20 and missed that re-entry here. And that's one of the things. You can put an order in there, and anybody can say, hey, I want a short at that price. Look how good that was. $19.99 short when 20 broke, and now we're in the money. But the reality is, when a stock is this far to the downside, or when the news comes out, getting fills in here is incredibly unrealistic. So you're almost never going to get that fill on an SSR name when 20 breaks at $19.99. As a matter of fact, when 20 broke the first time, this is a 3-minute candle. I'm not sure. I had an order for the breakdown at 20. I don't get that fill till it comes back up through me. That's the reality of trading these names. Like, it looks easy when it's bleeding to the downside, but when it's down that far, just not always able to get those fills the way that you want when it's SSR. Also means the stock's in a world of hurt, and that can be good for your shorting opportunity out there. So we'll see what happens with this Ben. If I can get back in on the offer, we are running out of time for that to happen, right? Could be time, yet now would be the time to throw the trail on Apple. It's pressed down back underneath the lows. So if it can hold out underneath about that 45 to 50 area, we'll just see how far it goes down. I would say 225 even is a pretty nice round number if it can hold that. But the more times it wicks that top or wicks the bottom, I don't want to get caught with it making that fresh low, rebounding big, and then we don't get anything else. So I want to make sure if it trails here, we'll get out around 45.50 or hold it to 225 even. Intel's not moving anymore. I think it's going to be more about Apple, and we can see if we can get into Ben again.
Yeah, Apple lost their App Store guy there, so we'll see what's happening with that one. But I mean, we've got the banger on already, man. We just took some Nvidias out at 77s there as we had ahead of 75. So again, we talk about trading around the quarters and things like that. So there's another out for us on Nvidia. Good trade, I guess. And TQs, so that's fallen in, right? The NASDAQ's falling in on that Apple news a little bit. So, you know, we missed those outs. So we probably have to put something now back to the upside. I'm going to wait in the mid 40s just to take a piece out in case it does get that bump now back up. But it doesn't look like it wants to do too much here heading into the close. So we'll just keep on hitting cancel, hitting escape, and making sure that we're all over the right names now. All right, so now it's going. There it is. There's that 44 fill. So we'll spend a little bit of money there for that one. Good fill there. Wait to see if it'll come back up. So we got saved there. It was down into the 30s, comes back up into the 50 period. And that's the one thing about trading multiple positions. Like, you got to watch out. Yeah, Zoom and Snow. So, all right. So Snowflake coming out with a report. So is ZM. Join Neil, not Chris Bretcher, but Adara. Both of them on the recap show today.
Get your questions ready.
Yeah, get your questions ready for Adara and Neil, and they'll be able to answer them, I guess, obviously. So right there, wow, Snowflake's up to 135 again. Okay, I think we're about flat on our position. We keep saying that we're in and around 136. So Snowflake, good trading here, obviously. Did I just get more short on Nvidia? Yes, I did. Okay. The money just kind of was like, wait a second there, Sean. Your net is going one way, not the other. So watch out here. We just got some more shares. Sorry about that. I have to go over to Nvidia. I didn't realize we just got filled up there again. So watch out. Pulling back in. We just went back into 128 flat there. Would have liked to take something out. Now Nvidia is getting going here into the close, which is fine, man. We still have that TQQ trade on. We're getting lighter and lighter. My stop for this is a break of 30. So it's that same level that we didn't get on the long. So let's wait to see now if this comes back in. We are short where? At 10, 11s, 10 halves. So now hopefully this will pull back in a little bit for us. I'll put some bids down near 128 flat, but realistically, hoping for a little bit more of a dip down. Remember, the last couple days, I feel like Nvidia's really been on these imbalances, and I feel like they've been really strong bids. So we're going to have to watch out. In just a couple minutes, I'm going to reload this. Watch out only for NASDAQ and New York names coming out very, very soon. So these are as of 9:30. And in just 3 minutes now, you'll get another update. So let's see if this can fall back in. We're getting out at 30 if it breaks anyway. It's not going to be a huge hit. But it'll be a hit as we take a little bit of an average price here. There it goes. So I think they're just front-running all of this.
Yeah, this is a big bounce. Well, it's not a big bounce. It's a real bounce.
I'll take
the Qs are going. Apple, we said we put a trail out in. Apple broke back above that 40 zone. We got out at 44. That's right back in race into resistance. It's now 2 minutes to the imbalances. So I'll hang on to Intel because I've tightened my stop to, I'm in at 34 and essentially just giving it to this local high. Whoa, wow, I had a stop order on DJT from earlier in the day that I just realized I needed to cancel. So I'll go ahead and do that. Put my trail on an Intel, which I didn't flip to for you. Didn't give you anything more than VWAP on that retracement, which is sometimes how it is, right? Let's support it VWAP on Intel. But if it breaks this local high, I'm getting out with only 2 minutes to go here in the market. So there you go. You can see it. Boom. Live. Move my trail right in there. My last entry was 34. My average price was 34, 35, 34, 36 were the only fills that we had. So we're going to be out of this. Hands off until the imbalances come through. But let's go over to Adara.
Keep an eye on some of these monkeypox and vaccine-related stocks. Sorry, Mpox. We have GOVX pushing to a new high of days. Nice little volume pop here on reports that there's the first confirmed case of Mpox in the U.S. in Wayne County here. So Wayne County is being reported by Fox 2 Detroit. Keep an eye for on GOVX, guys, with that pop higher.
Oh, yeah, like Wayne, what the hell are you doing back there? Wayne County now on watch. Of course, we have our good friend Wayne in the back, not liking that county being called out there.
GovX is breaking.
Yeah, GovX. The other one was SIGA as well. Possibility of going now on that news. There it goes right now. SIGA trying to go. So yeah, we're starting to get going now. I think it might just be worth a long. TQQs is breaking out, man. TQQs is a good trade right now. We'll take a little bit of a long now. We'll punch those 35s. You might have just seen that. Let's just see what happens. Breaking back down below 9, we'll get out, but we're long SIGA. Choo-choo, SIGA, all aboard. Let's see what winds up happening right now. We've seen this go before. It's more like that GovX, though, that seems to want to go. We're long SIGA.
GovX just broke 8, so I don't know. I took a break on GovX. So just pick your poison. It was the one that I guess they said with the story, but it doesn't really matter. They're all kind of it's going to go into, okay, that's right.
Damn, it's going to go into a halt.
So this is going to open... All right, so it's halting at 349.43.
Get up.
Which means it's either opening. So anyways, it's either opening at 4 o'clock.
Do you have any? Oh, you have it. Good, nice.
Yeah, but I kind of.
Let's go.
Yeah, I guess I offered twice. I know I took the punch and then got out. I was going to offer once, and then I must have put 2 orders out there and not one because I wanted to get some out before the halt. Because then at 4 o'clock, it's going to open up. Although it is on the other side of 350. The rule is in the last 10 minutes of a stock halts, then it opens up at 4 o'clock. But this one was right before 350. It'll be interesting to see if it does open at 55. We'll find out. But that was GovX, SIGA, technically probably SIGA, also to the upside there. But I kind of just punched the 8 break and then got out for a quick little scalp trade. I'm just going to cancel my stop orders and other orders out there. We got 10 minutes to go and the imbalances did drop.
Yeah, so Nvidia is a buy, so we do get stopped out of that trade. Boo-hoo on us. Boo-hoo, we suck. But that's okay. We did get stopped out on that one, but guess what we did not get stopped out on? Let's go. It's the trade that we gave you. It's the big trade. It's the big dog right there. It's the TQQs as that continues to scream higher and higher, man. Nice move all the way back up on that one as it continues to go. And by the way, oh yeah, we told you, man, we're versatile over here. Today, man, big trading on the NASDAQ futures. We just talked about that. We're 60 handles in the money there. SIGA right now, we just took that live. I mean, you guys saw me punch in. You know, people will question other people's trades. You know, it was right here, right on the screen. We punched in there at 9.35. Real sees real, and there's SIGA right now, 40 cents in the money and going higher right now. SIGA starting to go 70s. I then will take that and see where we go now on SIGA. Remember, as Neil mentioned, we're not trying to be in this after hours, but we can be if we want to be. And there it goes, a nice move up there to 9.75. We'll take another fill on SIGA. What a great way to end the day here. We'll end the day almost at the highest spot we've been at all day there. We did have that little slip up on Nvidia. Slip up or not, I mean, at the end of the day, we knew that there was a risk associated with that trade heading into the imbalances. So we were able to not really get too heavy into that name, but we did lose at the end there. And then this was the big one, of course. And I'm fine telling you guys that because it's the truth. There was a good trade there on the TQs, right back there up into the upside. So, you know, one trade gives you everything you need. And that was SIGA right there with a monster move up and the TQQs. Let me go tweet this out. If you guys want to follow me at TraderTV, Sean, 40-something, 7,000 followers. Go join right now. The revolution is real, and it's happening right in front of your face. So there it goes right now. We're out of 80% of this trade.
Yeah, SIGA's still going. Remember, GovX is halted. So we'll see. I'm not 100% sure it'll open in 5 minutes. My gut's telling me it'll open at 4 o'clock. But we'll see what happens with this stock. I'm just going to pull it out for you and show you what happens when it does open, if it does open above 850. Because this was a big level the last few sessions here. 850, previous high, previous resistance. Like if it gets into this range, you have upside to about like $10, where this sucker dumped off $10 a couple of days ago. Like, I mean, like seriously, there was just all kinds of selling at the open at $10, then late in the day, it dumped from 10 into 7 even. I think that's a good level to work with. It's currently indicating an open of $8.35 when it halted at $8.29. So big breakout there on the MPOX names to the upside. In 90 seconds or so, you're going to have 355 hits and balances tend to flip. Nvidia is a buy and balance, Intel's a sell and balance. The one that matters would be Nvidia is a buy and balance. Likely that pairs off at or about that 355 mark, and you might see a bit of a reversal, at least specifically with this stock here on Nvidia. So we'll see what happens with that. I will also have my eyes on GovX, obviously. Just curious to see if they're going to reopen this one. I mean, one thing you can always do is if you're in position in the stock, you can put in like market on open orders to get out of position for something like a GovX. Did Sega halt?
No. 70 handles in the money on the futures is good enough for your boys. So we are out now at 70s here on the TQQ. Just topping out the day, man. Topping out the day. It's a good one here. Sega really helped at the end of the day. We still got B. Riley. What's up, Nvidia? We still got B. Riley in the building right now as well. So let's just get out some of that one as we go. I mean, I don't know. We can just punch this maybe at 92s there. All right, well, we cross into it. You just see us getting out of that at 91s, I guess we got there. There's the out on Riley. You're going to say, well, that might not a great out. It's not. We got 15 cents or whatever that was on the last piece, but we already put that on board at 7. We should have been a little bit more aggressive with that one. Okay, so now we're out of everything. We're out of the TQs. I mean, that was a monster. I mean, it's still going. This TQ trade, Neil, 90 handles right there in the money for that. So not too shabby right there for that trade. But there it goes, man. I mean, Neil, I don't know. I'm loving trading these futures.
Yeah, I gotta love it. Go flip from one to the other. You know, if the stocks aren't working, you can always go back into the futures. If the futures ain't working, you can go back into the stocks.
What about if they're both working?
Well, if they're both working, you don't have to do anything.
Let's go.
There was a good question in there. Snowflake 11% is the expected move on Snowflake. I'm thinking it's a decent chance that it's going to retrace it. Zoom is also 8.5%, so a couple of big earnings names. In fact, there was no open on GovX, so I feel like the gut was right on this. No 5-minute open. My anticipation, this is going to open at 4 o'clock. And then you can see apparently there was a couple of other names. Something else might have halted as well. VRAX, VRAX is the other one. That also halted. So Sega didn't halt. VRAX is halted pretty much at the high of the day, as you can see here. So both the MPOX names, or at least a couple of the MPOX names on that news, halted to the upside and should open up at 4 o'clock, where there are no circuit breakers, so anything can happen. Understand, if you hold through, this can be back at $5, a heck of a lot faster than it went up. It can be at $7 and anything in between. I'm going to head on up over to the desk. We're not going to have Chris Brescher on. His internet didn't come back. We got myself, we got Adair, we got Snowflake, we've got Zoom as well. We'll take some Q&A from everybody and then see what happens with all these MPOX stocks. It's entirely possible that these suckers could continue to go into the aftermarket. Sometimes the best plays are in the aftermarket on small cap names, especially these runners. So good luck to anybody out there. No one ever went broke taking profit. That's all I got to say.
No, you also don't get rich getting out too soon also. So make sure that you guys, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got to each your own. We're out, of course. We just got out at 60s there on Sega. So we bought 35s live on the show. Our best fill is up here at 75s or, yeah, 75s. So that was our best fill, a couple outs. Probably our average out is probably, I'd say like 63, 64. At the end of the day, we could do the P&L math, and we'll do that after to have a quick look. Good out looks like for us on Riley. Not a great out for us on the TQs. I mean, I'm always going to get out before 350, I feel like. So we did hold a little bit into that bump. So when it comes out, there it is. You know, we talk about some of these plays every day, and I just hope that you guys are watching and just enjoy the show. And if you do enjoy the show, we haven't changed this in like forever, but there it is. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and all of that, and have some fun here with us every single day. And you know, we do put this on, and it's been a great experience, I think, for all of us, just being able to sit here, trade different styles, and just have a lot of fun every single day. Meet great people. We have BPI behind us. Lots of good traders have come through the floor. So we'll just continue to, you know, have the good vibes here. And I mean, that TQQ trade, you know, it's going to sound like, you know, not bragging or anything like that, but it's just like, I got to bring it up. Because if I don't bring it up, then it's like, okay, what is the point of this trading show? So here's a winning trade, man. We actually talked about this trade many moons before it happened. We said we were buying this TQQ. Why? Because you see this 50-period moving average. You know, we really like that. And as it was falling in, I said, I'm going to be here to support that play. So when it falls back in, we take it and we put the numbers up. And so, I mean, that's part of trading. Trusting yourself, trusting whatever platform or whatever sort of rules you're trying to follow as we go. And that's what we did there with the TQQs. Now, obviously, we didn't hold it all the way. Would have loved to do that. But it goes back in there. It's my third highest stock today, and it's a good one. So, that's part of trading. And we'll just continue to give hopefully some great ideas. And hopefully everybody watching us also is able to take on some of these trades or at least learn a little bit of the lessons that we're trying to throw down. All right, page one, I got to get here ready for the countdown. We'll have Miss Adara on the bell in about 30 seconds. Just a quick look to see if there's anything lasting here. Nvidia still with a buy. That's kind of hovering around up 0.95. We'll wait, I guess, till tomorrow, right? Until we see a potential move in Nvidia through that 130 level. So that's going to stay there as a bid here into the close, man. It'll be a trophy kind of day. I hope you guys are enjoying it. With only 10 seconds left now, there we go, Adara. She's getting ready to rock and roll. You can see we're almost in sync with our closing bell right there. That's what happens when we got it 2 and 1. All right, thanks, Adara. Good day so far there. Watch out for Snowflake. The implied move on Snowflake is over 11% on Snowflake. So it's a $135 stock right now. Wait till you see this move on Snowflake. I think it might be right. This name can move. We'll wait to see what Snowflake has to talk about. And when that comes out, these guys will have that for you. Look what just happened to Sega, by the way. I guess getting out a little too early on Sega as that pops to $10.50 damn cents. That would be a $1 winner there on another one there for Sega. So watch out here as we go. Lots of earnings coming through. You just tell me. I just keep on waiting for this. Whenever they're ready, I will throw it over. They are good now. All right. Look, I'm back tomorrow, 8:30, right here. Fabian, Neil, thank you. Adara, thank you. Sharif, thank you. Fabian, thank you so much to Rob and to Randy today. Damn, it feels good to be a gangster. Over to the market recap show. What a day.
What a day. And those MPOX names, all three of them making major moves to the upside. So GovX did open. We'll start there because we don't have earnings yet on Snowflake or Zoom. We're expecting about 4 or 5 for those. All the way after the 8 break, the halt at 8:30. GovX goes all the way to $9. This is what we talk about. It opens at 4 o'clock. You get the move up, but anything can happen. Now retracing right back into what was the halt price and back into $8 if you're in VRAX. Very similar story. Halted up, gave you a $1 move, pulled right back in. You saw Sean say the same thing about Sega. All three of them got a $1 move in the aftermarket before a little bit of a reversal here. So they're still up after hearing the news. So if you got it on the early breaks, you'd still be in the money on all three of these names, looking pretty solid. Pretty interesting day, obviously, in the overall market here, Adara. We had a lot of data. We had the Fed minutes come through. Certainly, it's a pretty green day overall across the board. I want to lead off with the SMH over here. It's just we're waiting around for Snowflake and Zoom. We'll get to that if they do, but I wanted to point out the SMH, bit of a wild up and down day. Yes, you're going to end up. We said this, I said it a lot today, inside day. It's almost as if the highs and the lows just got respected multiple times today. And the best example of that might be the double top on Nvidia. I can't remember the last time I saw something like this where you had Nvidia basically make the lows in the middle of the day right at noon, looking like it was a weak name, retrace all the way to the high, and then completely lose strength again at the exact penny. Like right up there. Like it wicked it by like a cent or two there on Nvidia before going into the downside. So, big reversal there. It's a strong day overall. I do see Zoom is moving.
So is Snowflake, but I have both open to see the numbers and I see no numbers.
Yeah, it feels to me like Zoom was already going into the aftermarket. Like it was already through 60 and breaking higher. I'm just tracking it. It's only up about 50 cents, so only 1 point right now. We don't have any numbers on it. Snowflake's starting to move around a bit. Up $1, down $1. I'm going to say it's probably not out yet. I think you'd see a little bit more volatility and volume going through on Snowflake if the numbers were out. So we always say this, it can be very, very dangerous to trade earnings after market, because if you're in early, that could be like, they could come out with bad guidance, the early move goes up, next thing you know, you're at $125, and you just took a breakout at 136. So wait, make sure the numbers are out. Only two big earnings names here are Zoom and Snow, although we do have Wolf as well. So if you're interested, that Wolf speed is also going to be reporting. They have a wick out there too. I don't think the numbers are out just yet, but even this did a bit of a move. So a little bit of anticipation of these earnings that should be coming through in the next minute or so. While we're waiting around for that, worth noting, big day for the Chinese K-Web ETF. Like big rally, holding out those highs, up 1.5%. If you're going to ask yourself why that was when we're looking at the sectors, Alibaba holds on to its flag. Back up at $83 is Alibaba. So when I look at K-Web having a good day, we like the fact that Baba's right back above that 80, looking pretty solid here for them, 3%, leading the way for basically the entire thing. And it was the story this morning, Walmart dumping their position in JD. That was weighing on it a little bit. So 405, would expect that we're going to start to see some of these come out. Still not a lot happening there on Snowflake. Dara, I haven't seen anything come across on Zoom. We'll keep an eye on some of these.
Oh my God, Snowflake.
Oh, Snowflake is that. Oh, see what I mean? You go long on that original break and you see 125. So right down to 125 on Snowflake. I'm going to assume the top line might have been missed. We'll see what happens with those numbers, but Snowflake right down there, $10. The initial move is undefeated this earnings season for being wrong if you fat finger and go before the numbers are out. It's almost like it's some kind of an indicator. So Snow's down now 3.5 points, testing the 125 level of Dara.
Revenue miss from what I'm seeing. I want to clarify as well. Sometimes the analyst estimates that I'm seeing are not going to be the same that we're seeing generally reported, right? So I was seeing consensus estimate of 848.15 million for revenue. They reported 829.3 million. So that's almost a $20 million revenue miss. They also here reported Q2 earnings per share. So again, not adjusted, because sometimes the adjusted numbers are different. They reported a loss of 95 cents per share. Analysts were looking for earnings of 15 cents per share. So that is also going to be a miss. These are not great numbers here. They're also looking for Q3 product revenue between 850 and 855 million. So that'd be well above what they actually reported here. But yeah, seeing again, those were accurate estimates here. They did miss by about $20 million for revenue, guys.
Well, while Snow is melting, Zoom is heading higher here, up 5 points, broke out to 61. So this time the early move, I guess they had it right as they were going higher. Now $63 in play here for Zoom. They are breaking out while Snow got to that 125. I see in the chat someone took 125 to 129. Congratulations. Be careful trading those aftermarket earnings. But Zoom is certainly heading higher. I'm going to quickly show you guys the daily chart for Zoom, because this is right at the 50 on the, the 200 period on the daily is about 63.5. Big resistance spot here into 63.5, $64, which it looks like it's about to test Adara.
I mean, I'll start with the outlook here. These numbers are great across the board. They're seeing Q3 adjusted earnings per share between 129 and 131. Analysts were looking for 124. Beat. Now we'll get to what they're seeing for Q3 revenue, 1.16 billion to 1.165 billion. Analysts were looking for 1.16 billion. So that's going to be in line / above expectations there. Now, in terms of what they reported this quarter, adjusted earnings of $1.39 per share versus estimates of $1.21 per share, beat. Now for revenue, 1.16 billion versus estimates of 1.15 billion, another beat. So great look here for Zoom across the board. As I see more numbers, I'll let you guys know. Also worth noting here, SIGA Technologies, that name with the MPOX, they actually had a catalyst here coming out right at 4. They did get a contract from the Department of Defense for the procurement of $9 million worth of TPOXX. So I'm guessing this TPOX here, they're getting $9 million worth. Keep in mind, though, SIGA actually has a decent market cap, over $600 million. So not a huge deal contextually, but $9 million contract here for SIGA.
And like all three of them, this, VRAX, and GovX, they all meant that dollar move to the upside right at the close, I should say, when they reopened. At least two of them reopened. Now pulling back a little bit is SIGA. Got to $11, pulling back to $10.44. Now just double checking back in on Snow. I mean, it's trying to hold $125, so that was the level. It bounced once, came to 29. You'll see it's right back in on those lows. There's a reason we zoom out the charts, and I'll get to that in a quick little second when it comes to Zoom. But here, it's very easy to see. When you pop out this chart, look at all the accumulation at the 125 area. So it's a big round number, obviously 125, psychologically a big one. And then you had all kinds of consolidation at that price. You had a flat bottom break at that price. You had a support level at that price. That's the only reason. Like when you heard me say, oh, if it's going to break out and then fail to the downside, I didn't know it was going to be bad numbers with snow. I just said if it's going to the downside, it's probably headed to 125 bucks because that was the big level on the daily when you look at this chart. And if you did any work on Zoom, that's kind of the thing that's going to stick out. So it's trying to bounce off this level here. Congrats to anyone that got it at that price. But the other thing was why we zoomed out on Zoom to show you this overhead resistance right here at 63.5 and the 200 period moving average. Because just like that 125 level, Zoom flies right into that level and pulls back. It's holding the top end of the range, so still a good look for them, up 6 points now on Zoom. Although I think that understates things because really it was under, like we were under $60 and you started going aftermarket. And if you zoom out a little bit more, you'll see like this is coming from like a 59 a little bit earlier in the overnight. So like it's really made a good comeback throughout overnight, throughout the day, and then breaking out the top here is Zoom. Good numbers for sure. I don't know if we have that wolf.
We do, and it's bad.
Yeah, I was about to say this one is not exactly, it's not really roaring anywhere except to the downside.
Yeah, it's you don't want to say good or bad earnings, but these numbers are missed across the board. This is actually their fiscal Q4, so we also have their numbers for the whole year of 2024, which were a miss. So they reported losses of $2.59 per share for fiscal 2024. Analysts were looking for losses of $2.58 per share. Sales of $807.2 million for the year, missed estimates of $809.65 million for the year. They also did miss for this quarter as well, larger than expected loss per share and a sales miss, though they did say that they're looking to reduce their CapEx spending for fiscal 2025 by $200 million. So that's not bad in terms of guidance. Those numbers, though, miss across the board for the fiscal year and for the quarter.
Can we quickly check out what's going on in Microsoft here? Because Microsoft, it dropped $4 in here. Not looking fantastic. Big volume spike to the downside. Microsoft just tagged 420 with a little bit of a bounce happening on Softy.
Some guidance here. I don't know why they put this out now, but they have released some guidance here for Q1, seeing their intelligent cloud revenue here between $23.8 billion to $24.1 billion, and seeing their Q1 Azure and other cloud services revenue to be down sequentially 1 to 2 points. This is also worth noting because we know their cloud guidance was an issue when they actually reported. I need to look more into this story here because we already know there were some issues with the cloud guidance and the cloud earnings, but interesting look here. I'm not also seeing this reported everywhere. So this is interesting too with Microsoft. Okay, so that explains Microsoft going 1 point to the downside. It's close to even now. I just zoomed out. I didn't see anything outside of 420. That was the only level. I mean, it just goes right back and now it's heading higher. So I guess they don't mind buying the dip there in Microsoft because they're a pretty good company. Last I checked, they're a pretty good wolf. Not good. Not going to be a good one. Ultimately, I would have preferred that would go up because it had like a 20% short float. It's going to check back in on Snowflake, try to rebound, still holding down around those lows. 125, looking at least a little bit decent for Snowflake here. That feels like a level, obviously you trade price action in the aftermarket. It's on different volume. It's just a different situation than when the live market is open and you have more participants. But that 125 is feeling like it can be a level that could be respected tomorrow. Problem with overnight, you have no idea where it's going to gap to. Like I've said this before, and then you come in the next day and it's trading $130, and you have no opportunity to trade off of that kind of a level. Rivian Millionaire. I put them in the chat synopsis already.
Synopsis? Okay, yeah, you're asking about synopsis. Synopsis beat. I thought we had a couple of other ones, like small ones that we're going to be reporting as well. Let us know if any of those come through.
We have something else here from Snow that's pretty big.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from Snow.
Yeah, so they have authorized the repurchase of an additional $2.5 billion under their repurchase program through March 2027. So we know the market does enjoy those share repurchases. Also, so I'm seeing here as well. Thank you, Saad Mahmoud, for pointing this out. They actually now have a Q2 revenue. I'm seeing different Q2 revenue than what was initially reported for Snowflake now. So now I'm seeing sales here of $868.82 823 million versus estimates here of 849 million. I saw 828 across the board here. So now it's being changed to 868. That is interesting indeed here. Because, okay, this is what happened here. So they announced it, instead of announcing their whole revenue, it looks like Snowflake announced their product revenue first. Their product revenue was reported as their whole revenue. That was a miss. But then in terms of their total revenue, that actually ended up being a beat. So the way they reported it was weird. They did beat on sales, but they just reported it really weirdly.
Yeah, like why make it?
Snowflake, thank you for bringing that to my attention. That's what happened there.
Despite that, and even if total revenue did beat, it's not bouncing that much. It's still hanging around those lows down at 127. We did have Urban as well. Urban Outfitters it spiked originally to the upside. Now it's starting to come back in underneath those lows. So this was up pretty decently. I mean, it almost tagged 10% to the upside. It's technically still up on the day because it was going higher, but if you look at the close, like it's barely moved since the close. What goes up must come down. So Urban Outfitters, 8% short flow. This would be an interesting one tomorrow if it ends up holding some of these break levels. And just because look at all the accumulation off the 200 period moving average on Urban with an 8% short float. I mean, I don't even have to draw you guys the ascending trend line here. If it takes out the top, you've obviously got resistance or potential resistance at like 43.5. That's where it turned already. This looks like an interesting one to break out of a consolidation. So put this one on radar as we just got their numbers. Bit of an up-down session when it comes to earnings. Zoom so far good. Snowflake so far bad. Wolf, blah. Microsoft with those revised guidance numbers now back into the negative. So Microsoft had given it all back or gained it all back. Now they're back into the red. This should be one to watch out of those Mag 7. That 420 level is a pretty important one there. So we don't have our good friend Chris Brecher, but we'll keep our eye on some of these earnings moves. We'll keep our eye on some of those MPOX names as well. But if you guys have any questions, now would be the time to throw it in the chat. I see Tisha Perkins, you're watching Vrax, you're watching GovX. Both these names continuing to go higher. Vrax now at $7 at the high of the day. The MPOX stocks are going to be in play probably all afternoon session or evening session here, and then going on to the morning. This and GovX and SIGA or SIGA, depending on what you're calling it, they're all running higher. GovX up 50% now, still holding the 850. Hasn't gotten back to that post-market high, but looking very, very good there. I feel like tomorrow is going to be one of those days. We got Jackson Hole going on, but we don't get Powell until Friday. So for me, Jackson Hole doesn't matter. It doesn't matter till Papa Powell does his speech.
Yes, that's true.
So we had the big moves in Nvidia with the imbalance on Nvidia. Obviously, the chips are going to be into play. But if we're going to get these MPOX stocks going ham again, this could be the place to be when it comes to the small caps, the gainers, the runners. That's where it looks like it's going to be today. The earnings, I don't know if we're getting enough out of Urban Outfitters. Snowflake, the 125 looks like it might hold. Did you trade any of the MPOX names today, first of all?
I did not trade any of those names. Not really my type of, stock or mover. I'm trying to find more of my space there. Yeah, I did. I am actually really upset at myself, and I've said this because Eli Lilly, I had the right level perfectly. Lost in the first trade. Managed it completely fine. There was nothing wrong with how I managed that trade. I had more than enough risk left to take this again. It happened again. I saw it. And this is what upsets me. It's not that I missed the move. I saw it. Saw it holding the book beautifully. I didn't take it because I got a little bit in my head. I was like, why are you trying this? Blah, blah, blah. That was a huge mistake. I fully should have taken it. Set up beautifully. Everything was telling me to go long. I didn't trust myself, and that's really why I was upset about it. Then I did some stuff with SMCI I really didn't need to do. The level, to be fair, it did hold up, but I didn't have enough confidence that I should have been getting involved there. So it is what it is. Really happy with what I did with Meta, though, with that 530 break. And it's like, if I had the confidence to take that, which arguably on the chart looked a lot dicier than the Lilly long, why am I not taking the Lilly long? So lots of journaling, long story short. Yeah, what a day.
If Lilly's your stock, Lilly is your stock. That's the thing. If you really like the stock and you like the setups, regardless, sometimes you just got to be on that one. I felt like this afternoon, like when that story hit, there's probably 0 times where you've ever seen, a bad news story on a Boeing, well, everybody's going to go short on something like that. But when there was that news on the MPOX names, like I was on GovX and Sean was on SIGA. It's like you just hit the offer on both of them, and you could have hit any of them, and they really move. I have a great one there, Sean. He's just taking off right now. There was a question in there, my thoughts long-term on ASTS, AST Space Mobile. Look, the daily chart is intense. The short float is 20% on this name. So I'm just going to see if I can, here, let me do this. This is FinViz. Look, we're not sponsored by them. All these ads here, let me get rid of that one. This is going to be hard for you guys to see, but I'm going to read it for you. Price to sales, 3,900 times sales. I don't even know what to do with that. Sales of 1.4 million, market cap of 5.5 billion. So again, I will never pretend to be, I'm not some expert on every single stock out there. I usually know a little something about the things that I own because I own them, so I should understand how they make money. I'm not going to wax poetic about this stock in a general sense. The uptrend is great for a trade, and it's been working. And for those, when you're deep in the money on these things, especially when it's squeezing further after earnings, okay, so you hold on to a piece for the dream. All I will say is, I was long on Silvergate during the 2020 craze. I was long on, I had a Firm, Silvergate, what else do we have? Lemonade. I mean, I'm talking about a lot of crap. Virgin Galactic, because I was like, when the market was going exuberant on all that free money out there, I was taking shots in my in my personal trading account, not my RRSP, but my TFSA. I was taking shots in like some crap that was going higher. Silvergate went out of business. A Firm came all the way back down. Lemonade got destroyed, giving up it went from like 140, at one point it was at like 10, 15 bucks or something like that. Virgin Galactic got flushed to a penny stock. You just understand, like with these names, it's great on the way up, but those suckers come down just as fast when reality does set in. So that's all I can really say for you with something like an ASTS. I don't really know too much about them. I can tell you when I look at it, I kept thinking it was broken, like FinViz was quoting incorrect numbers because I didn't wrap my head around 4,000 times sales and how it could still be going up. But yeah, what you should look at, and one trader used to tell me this, is I'm not an options expert, but have a go look at like some long-term options and see where they're kind of pricing the stock being in 6 months. Because a lot of times that'll tell you whether the shorts are going to win on this eventually. So it's been a good look on ASTS. I just want to temper, I don't want to be pumping a stock like this. It's been great for the longs, but this seems very dangerous to me. Just want to quickly go back to some earnings plays here. We got another, Rohit just said, trend is your friend. How do you determine when and how to shift from a bearish to a bullish stance the other way around? Well, that's a great question. I'm going to leave it on the snowflake chart and give you the answer. So snowflake is down 4%. So here's my take. Here's the trend on the daily chart. And one of the reasons I like moving averages or drawing trend lines in when I don't have moving averages that'll tell me something is because it gives you a place where it confirms the turn for you. Because I don't care if I'm trying to buy, let's say I'm trying to buy Snowflake for the long term. I'm not concerned with getting the absolute low if I'm just looking for a retracement back into, say, the 200 period moving average or this prior high at 160. I can get a trade back into that when it's confirmed something. So what do you have here? Going into earnings, you've got this, let me just, I don't really usually draw trend lines with trade ideas, but I'll go ahead and do some right here. So I'll connect you with this high to just about that one. So you get this trend to the downside on Snowflake. And you've broken out the 50-period moving average before earnings, and it's lost it. But the trend down has already been broken. So if I was playing this going into earnings for a shot, like I'd probably, which I'm not and I wouldn't do, I'd probably be long with a local stop underneath here, that 125 area. But if you're waiting for confirmation, it's still above that trend line, and you've got the 50-period moving average to play with. So if it were to regain the 50-period moving average, maybe close above there on the week, if I was swing trading long snow, I like that for a trend break. I don't want the bottom. I want it in here somewhere, slap a stop underneath the trend line, and have take profits 50 and then up into the 200-period moving average. That's the kind of logic that I just personally work with. I try to be very, if I can't formulate a trade that simply, like, see, for me, like when you do this a lot, like that's a really simplistic. I knew I could just pull up that chart because I've looked at Snowflake before. I know I could pull up that chart. There was a trend line in the downside, had the 50 period in there, and they had the 200 period at a good take profit place. If I can't figure something like that for a trade, then I don't want to make a trade. Because to me, I need that whole picture out there So when you go to put it on, you're just executing. And you don't see me get as emotional about trades because the entire thing before I get in, I'm like, I'm getting in here. This is where I'm wrong. This is where I see resistance and stop points. This is where you get out. And then I'm just executing that plan. Works or it doesn't work. So for me, like, it's just a little bit robotic that way, and it's just what's worked over 20 years for myself. So everyone's got to be a little bit different. I hope that made sense for you for, kind of looking for a reversal of trend. It's never my goal. You always do want to get tops and bottoms, short at the top and long at the bottom. I'm usually looking for something more confirmatory, the break of a trend line, the hold of a 50-period moving average, a rounded bottom like we hear Michael Noss say. Those are the kind of things that I'm interested in. The way I see it is wanting to get the absolute top or the absolute bottom, a lot of times that's the ego. And it gets you in a lot of trouble because you're trying to pick the bottom and get it exactly right, which is a very difficult thing to do in trading. And then your question becomes, if you're not willing to stop out when it breaks that high or breaks that low, you get yourself into a world of hurt. I find when a trend line breaks or moving average holds or something along that, you hear Sean talk about this all the time as well. You get in there, you kind of have yourself an out. Because if it goes right back underneath, you've got yourself an out. If you have an out, then you've got yourself a trade. So good luck to everybody out there for sure. I have to morbidly, I want to check back. Not morbidly, because Zoom was up. But whenever we do this, I'm like, okay, we holding on to gains. Because that's an important thing for me. So in Adair, you've probably seen enough of these in the aftermarket. It's important not just where did the stock go. Okay, are there confident buyers into the aftermarket or sellers? Or confident sellers. We don't want that for any stock. But you do want to see a little bit of that going in. I like the fact that Zoom is holding on to some bids because it's at a big resistance spot. I mean, theoretically, it's a 200-period moving average. It's big resistance. So the fact that it's not selling off big off there gives you a chance to consolidate and break it out tomorrow. It's only a 3% short name, but it's also this. So Zoom doesn't have to have a big short float. This is another one of these names. Actually, I'm pretty sure Zoom is so what's going to happen is history books are going to talk about 2020 and the pandemic and all the run up. And there's lots of things that did crazy stuff there. But I feel like this is the chart and Zoom is the name that most exemplifies the COVID highs.
Yeah.
Unquestionably, everyone was at home using Zoom. Hey, we still use it when we have guests. But that 600 top on Zoom is like the thing of legends. The double top at 400, I've heard Obi say this, was like, if you were just, the stock is coming down, was probably the easiest swing short. I don't short names in my personal account. I don't swing short. I haven't, I should say. I don't want to say never. I just haven't done it before. But that was probably one of the easier ones out there. So I do like the fact that it's given you a bit of a base. And I know it's still trending to the downside, but it's been making a bit of a base to try and break another trend line. I won't bother drawing it for you. If you guys can't see that clear trend on Zoom and then a breakout of resistance, I think 70, I think 75. And then I remember something that I believe Brian Shannon said to me, which was when you're playing these types of curl breaks on stocks with downward sloping 200-period moving averages, be very cautious trying to hold them past the big first resistance because it's a downward sloping 200, meaning it's not a good trending stock. So even if it makes a local breakout, he would say, have an idea to take some profit in front of 70, have an idea to take profit in front of 74, 75. That's the other thing I love about our program. We'll bring you Chris when he's on. We'll bring you Danielle Shea tomorrow. We'll bring you Ryan Faluna on Friday. We'll bring you Michael Noss on Mondays. We'll bring you Brian Shannon on Tuesdays. But we're not just sitting here talking to these guests.
No.
We're learning from them as well.
Yeah.
So if I find myself in Zoom, I'm going to remember, hey, that's $70, that's 74, downward sloping 200-period average. Maybe we should be having a look at that one. How do I manage to ramble on? It's like 4:27 already.
Yeah, there's two other questions here that I really want to talk about, if I may, really quickly.
Yep.
So one here from Raheel asking if Snow beat expectations, why is the stock down? Also, why was the earning announcement presented in such a complicated way? Could you help understand? I think sometimes too, it's not how it's presented as much as how the market reacts. So to be fair, it's really weird for them to word it as product revenue and have that come out before they announce the whole revenue. Really odd choice on their part. However, we saw what happened today with the market's reaction to Nvidia on the DOJ news. There's no DOJ news. There was an op-ed, more or less, here from The Information, interviewing a guy who's biased because he's competing with Nvidia, saying Nvidia shouldn't have it be dominant. That makes sense. He's competing with them. Of course he thinks that, right? So as someone on the news desk, I sometimes, I have opinions about sometimes how news is portrayed, but that, that could be an issue regardless. Market participants are going to react how they react, and things sort themselves out. As Neil always says, there's no such thing as good or bad earnings. It's how the market reacts to them. I don't think the way they reported their earnings was great for them. They also, before they reported, and this happens a lot sometimes with names, they don't report the adjusted earnings per share right away. They just report the earnings per share. They had loss per share, like on a non-adjusted basis. So that seemed like a huge loss because they were expecting earnings of 15 cents per share. Adjusted, they beat. They did not beat on an unadjusted basis. So that, in my opinion, as someone who sees a lot of these reports, that would be my take. But also, I want to quickly talk here. Saad Mahmood saying, what's going on with Upstart? Is this a pure squeeze name, or does potential rate cuts really push this stock 100% in a couple weeks? Could 25 basis points really affect it? So I think what helps this name is we had great earnings, but what was more interesting to me was not the report. It was how we had this Mizuho upgrade a week ahead of the report. They upgraded to outperform. They raised the price target from $17 to $31. This is ahead of earnings, and they actually had very little to do with earnings in their explanation. They mostly talked about potential rate cuts. They said, regardless of the short float, we think that this could get a push higher. So there is certainly, I think, some institutional, or I guess larger interest in this name here with regards to interest rates. I also think here we've got a gap, a bit of a gap fill we're trying to make here. If you look at the daily chart around this 4750 area, we have this wicks into this area, we curl lower. But yeah, this gap that we made here, just over a year ago, I would guess this would be, this was their earnings report the year before where we had this gap down. I think if we can fill that gap, that could be interesting. Not advice, just my take on the chart. I'm still very new to the markets. I mean, I guess I've been here for a year, but that would be my take just based on that analyst note, the earnings and the chart.
You wouldn't be able to tell. I'll tell you this much. There was a point in the show where I used to have to fill in for Brennan on the desk when he wasn't here, and I would do the news portion of it while still trying to trade up here, which was very difficult, by the way. But the fact that you're just going over the earnings that you probably read once or twice without looking down, like when I was here, I would have to read it out. Even if I'd already gone over it, I'm still reading the numbers. I don't have that kind of memory. So that's an incredible memory that you have there. And don't apologize. You said it very, very kindly about that op-ed. An op-ed's not news.
It's not news.
It's not news.
It's not news. That's why I came on here and I was like, this is not really news, guy. It's
exactly. And I'm not here to judge whether or not news services can do what they do. Someone says something and they're a big name.
And Twitter picks it up.
And then Twitter picks it up and the story's out there, the market's reacting to it, so it's going to get posted to a news service. And if you pay for that news service, it's your job to identify whether it matters or not. So the second you see op-ed, you're like, who cares? Who cares? Now, there's certain opinions that can move the market, like Jamie Dimon could be an example of that. I'm sure you guys can figure other ones, like Warren Buffett, obviously. But let's be real. An op-ed, come on, an op-ed from a competitor talking negatively about the market leader is an absolute nothing burger, and it's in. It is
to be fair, it was an interview, but even if you look at the headline of the article, it's whatever, says rival. Yeah, the name of the article is kind of giving it away. It's just one person's point of view on this pre-existing report of a DOJ investigation. So anyways, I guess it's that's one thing that really gets me sometimes. You see all of this news and I'm like, either it's old news or it's already happened. And it makes sense. We get excited. We see headlines.
Which we do.
Twitter gets involved. It makes sense. It's one thing that I find, interesting today that we kind of had an example of that.
Which we have to, and that's what it's all about here. It's all about learning, and it's also about getting to that roll call. I know we're past that time. Appreciate you not hitting that a couple of minutes ago. That was very, very kind there, Ramin. But we do have a little something at the end of the day where we give thanks to everybody in our community. We shout out everybody's name. I say a big thank you to the entire team, and of course to Adara, Bears versus Bulls, both Fabian, Ramin, Sean, Brennan when he's here, Brennan enjoying his vacation, but the roll call is in. I'm going to throw my name in there, saying a big thanks to all the entire team here. Go get him, Adara.
Thanks to the whole team. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thank you to Neil. Thank you to Sean, Sharif, Obi, everyone in the back that you don't see, everyone that you do see, Ramin and Fabian as well. Shout out to Ramin who is still here. Bears for Bulls, thank you. Thank you, Daryl Flint, Comp You Care Team, Darwin, Siraj, Neo Rob, Swirling Brain, Havana Woody, Neil Roberts in the chat here. We have Marie LKK. We've got Chill Vibes, The Piper, Rivian Millionaire, David Clark, The Badger, Rogue Yogi. We've got Chris M, Paco. We have CompuHero Team. We have Robert Shepard. We have Criminal Scum. I love that name, Chung Chung. Emily, we've got Scott Edwards, Daniel Vargas. We have Raul. We have Alex Diaz. We've got Rivian Millionaire. Super chat from JKL, 499 super chat. Any chance even tomorrow you guys can look into the short volume in Nvidia? I can look at it right now if you'd like here. JKL, thank you very much for the $4.99 super chat. What I am seeing right now is a 1.1% short float of Nvidia.
Worth keeping in mind. Remember, Nvidia does the most notional volume of any stock in the entire market. It is one of the biggest companies out there. So the fact that it's 1.3% short is actually notionally very, very significant, right? It doesn't need to be 10. It's impossible. It can't be 10%. It's too big. Nobody has the stones to be short that it could have a short float of 10% because it's just entirely too big. An old trader, not an old trader, the legend trader here at Real Trading, who's been trading before Sean and myself and very successful, and was pointing out this exact fact. It's difficult. Nobody can lean on this thing. So you just have to run out of buyers for it to go down. That's a great, great question. In there. I didn't mean to interrupt that, but it was a really good question and a great point.
Thank you. I appreciate the context. The one thing, too, that I asked to Brendan, like, how can I tell if short float is important? He's like, well, how many shares does the stock have?
Right.
And that was huge, so I do want to shout that out as well. Willis Addison as well, thank you for a $2 super chat. 2 super chats in the roll call. Please just punch with that. Thank you, guys. He's saying, thank you, Traders TV Live. Thank you, Adara, with a hand, some charts, and a salute. Salute to you. Thank you so much for everybody in the chat. We have some other names here. John Von Sowers. We got Dwayne Walker. We have Courtney Smith. We have Gecko. We have the new 100, Mike Braze, Pitch Bull. We have Viper Trader, Girl Trader, Dan H. Lots of traders here, right? Rivian Millionaire. Abdraham. We have Edwin. I'm not an auctioneer, but I do, I guess, talk at a speedy pace. Arma and Danielle. This has been a great time there. Yeah, guys, I unfortunately cannot talk any slower than this. I naturally talk very quickly, and I do talk even faster when I'm excited by these here markets.
I am impressed. It's like a mic drop every single time. Somehow we don't have a mic drop graphic. We're going to need one, but we're past time here. It's been an unbelievable day. It's been an unbelievable week. Lots of volume and volatility. Snowflake down on earnings. Zoom up on earnings. Microsoft with some guidance, and that was to the downside. We have all that and more. We got Jackson Hole as well going on, so a little bit from the Fed. So you know what to do, everybody. Get a lot of rest. Make sure you're primed and ready because we do this all over again. Back here at 8:30, this is Trader TV Live. Shout out to the entire community. We love you, the best trading community out there. And we'll be back at it tomorrow morning. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.